okay. I just now.
It's on the screen. Oh my god. Girl.
Sorry. I was really the worst timing. I know. I feel like I have cake in my nose. So, hi, I'm here, and we're still waiting for kind of people to show up.
Ew, did you spit all over the bed?
No.
No people are here. Smart.
But, yeah. So you'll just have to read the chat off then. So, we're here, playing My Magic, Clash of Heroes. Just me and Mallory's gonna be behind the computer. She's wearing her nerd glasses. And really looking like a true hacker tonight in a full sweatshirt. And,
Hacker mode.
you do look like you're in hacker mode right now.
This microphone. Okay.
So,
Just
yeah,
checking.
we're gonna keep working on this game, keep going on it, try and get to the story, the elves, over with. And we're gonna comment about the graphics and stuff, as I need to do a little bit more grinding, so it's gonna be me staring at this and being like, man, some of these sprite work was definitely better in the original version of the game. So, be ready for more
If I
of
do
that.
this, can you see it on that screen?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna open like funny images then.
I just sneezed and it kind of hurt because I think I had...
Because you're a freaking weirdo!
Well, I was eating a slice of cake, and now my nose hurts because I think I had cake go up my nose. This is kind of painful. Amelia is my man in the chair right now, as she is in the chair. And you're the firstborn son, so you're technically a man as well.
Yeah. So anyways, back to Eevee and stuff. I have to do quick hacker abilities. I'll be back later.
Quick hacker abilities. You know, it's let's see. So I'm essentially going to be doing some stuff here. I'm trying to essentially get through this as quickly as possible. I'm trying to level up my dragons, which are just taking forever. I'm not going to do excessive amount of this though, because honestly, I really do just want to get done with this story so I can play one of the other campaigns that are more fun. I'm not to say this one's bad, it's very easy at this point. The units at this point also don't take a lot of strategy, because they all pretty much do the same things. It's not until like you get to the like Godric campaign that you start getting units that like have special abilities when they do things. You know, I mean the elf ones do too, but it's not just as much as the others are. And I need to move my dragon because he's in the way. It's right there. And yeah, it's just I'm looking at this and being like, man, some of these look better, and some of them definitely look worse. Or at least, like, there's this certain thing about just, like, some sprite art, and, like, you know, really well done sprite art, this is very eye-catching. This isn't necessarily bad sprite art, but just, like, some of the things, like, okay, this just looks like, you know, a done-up version of the version on the 3DS, and other ones are just like, nah, this, I wouldn't say this is an improvement. Okay. I'm having more... Well, could be the worst. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how I can get this dragon charged before those guys attack me. I think I can. Really questioning if I can kill the guy before.
Go gamers.
Yeah.
Tonight I'll be entertaining you with... I will be untangling my jewelry. Let's go. I'll be sitting here quietly.
Will you be Mallory? You think
Yes.
you possess such an ability?
Yeah.
But we've been going back and forth with things a lot, like topics. We were just talking about like art ideas for like Has Been Over on the car. Because right now my special interests, which you know is autism talk of just essentially the thing whatever has grabbed my fancy at the moment and will not let go. Like, you know, I also like to specify sometimes, like, exactly what that is like. It's like, it's not just like, oh, I'm really into this thing right now. It's like, no, as in you are like, it's a compulsion practically to be focused and fixated on this thing.
I mean, anybody out there with the hot dog brain knows the vibe. If anybody is like, oh my god,
Well, I mean, for those who are not...
I'm medicated for my brain function too. You know exactly what she's talking about.
Yeah, just for
Vibe
those
check.
that aren't as aware, I'm trying to put it into, like, you know,
I think everybody knows.
layman's terms. Well, I don't know who's there. I can't see the chat. I don't even know who's here right now.
Oh, Meredith said, boop boop. Sorry, I don't know how to get on the little...
So I have no idea what my audience is right now.
I'm not eating M&Ms right now. I'm not eating M&Ms yet. I don't have many right now. I'm eating chocolate cake. Because yesterday was my dad's birthday.
I also have a thing of chocolate cake, and then I sneezed and it went up my nose. So, you know, less than pleasant experience.
Yeah. So, slay. Yeah, I don't know how to get the little... Elliot has, like, a little screen so we can read the chat from the bed. I don't know how to get that to work.
I know, is there
So,
like a
I'm just
preview option or something on the screen?
I don't know. Girl, you're asking me more than my ticket. I only have a full screen projector.
See, that was like the thing he told me, like, he texted Ellie and be like, hey,
Did that work?
yeah, that's better than nothing.
What is it?
It's just,
I can't see. It's on a different screen.
it just shows me, like, your camera plus the thing. Just in, like, a half screen right now.
I wanted.
I mean,
Okay, let me do this so I can see. While I'm fixing this. Whoops, I almost broke it. Whoops, I knocked the thing over.
but,
Do the dessert? Yeah. Well, here's a incentive. You come to our house, you can have some birthday cake for my dad.
dessert right here.
It's the Costco tuxedo cake.
That's good.
So if you guys come over this week, oh well, you will. If you come over for D&D, you can have some Costco cake.
I don't know if it's still gonna be there by then. You know, Dad's insistent on eating it, like, every
Oh,
day.
who freaking knows?
Anyway, so originally what I was saying was that, like, so, wait, you said Mara said something in the chat and then you got distracted. What did she say?
Just like, hey dog. Oh, now I can't see it on my screen.
We're so good at this.
No, I just had like a really exhausting. You know, when you get those weeks and you're just like, speaking of, you know, melting brain. You know those times when you're just overstimulated all the time? That's me.
Well, you take care of kids, and that is probably, like, the most stimulating activity, so.
Is that a go? Okay, I think I got it to work.
Okay, I can't. The only thing that you have to do is, like, take,
You see now?
stream time. If Mally is eating M&M's right now, then I think Did you say something about M&M's?
Yeah, our thing is M&M, like magic.
I thought you were going to do Fairy Twink Boys or whatever.
That's the title. We have to have multiple things.
Bring me dessert.
I legally cannot take any criticism at this moment. Otherwise, I will cry for views.
For views only?
I will cry for views, and that's my way of hiding that I'm crying for real.
So, anyway, gosh, it's so hard to keep conversations sometimes because you have to be like, what thought was I having previously? But, no, I was saying, so essentially the idea, for those uninformed, Madeline points out that we have probably mostly, like, neurodivergent, like, watchers at the moment, but I'm gonna say it because I want to say it, so, you know.
I'm about to get my sound-canceling headphones. I'm about to do it, don't play me.
Play with boy.
Don't sass me, young lady. You sass me, I will...
I appreciate you calling me young lady, considering I'm the older of us, too.
Everyone thinks you're younger. You
I know.
look significantly younger than I do.
Well, the thing is, I've, like, looked the
Question
same for, like, the last 8 years.
Who looks younger, Evie or Madeline?
I've not really changed in, like, 8 years, which is impressive.
Correct. Most people will say me. Most people at my job think I am they think I'm the oldest. Not only that I'm the older sister, they think I'm the oldest in the family.
Well, to
I
be
think I
fair,
just
a
have
lot
a
of them didn't
weirdness
realize
about
a lot of them didn't even realize I was related to you for a while. They didn't know I was related to Mom.
I mean, we look We don't look that similar, but we have similar facial features.
I had someone come up and be like, "Oh, you're Laura's daughter." I'm just like, "Yeah."
You don't look like
Did you
her
not
at
notice
all.
Did you not notice I was calling her mom when we were in the office?
Between the two of you, Elliot looks younger. LOL. A lot of people think Elliot. It's so interesting to see because a lot of people think Elliot looks older than me,
He does have
but
a beard.
then they think that I'm the oldest. If they don't, people who know Elliot think he looks older than me, and then people who don't know Elliot think I'm the oldest of the four of us. So it's interesting because Elliot's got a beard. So once you're able to have
Yeah,
a beard,
we
if
can't
I
have
could grow a
beards.
beard, people would think I'm 47. Easy.
Yeah,
2
we
kids.
unfortunately cannot grow the beards. Malin has tried.
I can grow some beard. I can grow a little beard. It's not a cool, full, big man beard.
Well, neither can Dad, so
That's true.
you can't grow the full
beard. And I think Evie's just got that young look about her.
The young,
You know?
I like to use it young
Young,
times.
young. Hey, if you criticize me, I'll
I'm
poop
not.
on this camera.
That's again.
I'll
That
poop
doesn't
on the
hurt.
camera.
That,
Evie,
that doesn't
I'm
hurt
on my
me.
last straw. I'll pee on the computer.
That doesn't bother me.
I'll pee on this computer right now.
That really only hurts you.
It's a threat to everybody. I will pee on you. That's where I'm at, physically.
I still don't know
No.
how to threatens me.
No more. I can't take it.
If you want
My
me,
heart is too sensitive.
it is too sensitive. I'm just trying to talk here, and apparently everything's offending you.
It is.
I'm not trying to offend you.
Just kidding, my ear keeps popping. It's bothering me. It's whatever.
Do you try like blowing through your nose or something?
Did I try blowing through my nose?
Yeah, you know how you do
Dog. No, this is my lingering ear issue from January. So blowing through my nose, unfortunately, will do nothing because it's a like 10-month long ordeal I have. Hey man, let me tell you, you want birth control? Go into childcare. Even better, do full-time childcare. Ooh. I like kids, but nothing will really push you off of kids versus being sick for 10,000 years. Even my co-teacher just went in to the doctor on Monday. She's like, "Oh, since January, about when you were sick, I just haven't really been feeling that great." She's like, "I'm just really tired all the time." And I was like, "Go to the doctor." And you know what she has? A sinus infection and an ear infection that she's had for like 3 months. So, hey man. Also, my hair's like this because let's be real. Hair reveal. Hair reveal. Do you see my bangs? Come on, yo. I just can't get a win this week. I went to bed before brushing them out. Even with the little pigtails in to remove most of the damage. This is what we're fighting with. Let me just mourn my hair for a little bit.
Also, the other thing was that
You said the
that
same
you,
haircut
you were
since she
saying
was
your
9,
I think
so it's easy for her.
was it your co-teacher or was someone else that you were saying was being like, "Oh, well, I don't go to the doctor a lot even though I have insurance." Like, man, what must
My
it be
co-teacher,
like
yeah.
to have that?
Yeah.
Where I'm right now, I am on schedule to do like some radiology things to check out my digestive system, but we haven't set the appointment because we're still waiting for Medicaid to call me
Medicare
back.
called me back.
To see, I know you put it in after me. Why do they hate
It called me back because you're enrolled. It's like somebody in your house has Medicaid. Wahoo!
No, but I'm not. We're paying them no money right now. They
I know
haven't.
you pay money.
That's the whole reason Dad was confused. He was like,
Email me
how is
back.
that possible? Because they have not called me back. We are not paying them anything. I have no coverage right now, so I don't know. If they just think that I do.
Water review. This is the hint water in the flavor passion fruit, orange, and guava. Oh, passion fruit, orange, guava.
Yes.
Boom! I'm sure you can read that.
That's what I got right
Font,
now
that's-
too.
-6 size. I would say there's this one and then there's the lemon one. I actually really like this one because it's a strong flavor. Now, who do you give me his Vine Kid energy? Yeah, I'm the kid that's like, Snoop. You know that dog? Evie doesn't.
I do not.
I'm the kid, he puts his head in a hanger. He's like, yeah! It's the one that also, it's the same kid. The one that does the ears thing. And then the one that hits himself in the face with the best one goes, yeah! And he also hangs himself on a hanger.
There's so many. There's so
And
many
one goes,
references going on right now that I just am
and
not
he whips
aware.
like this. That's me, currently.
I feel like there's just so
It's
many.
between being tied too tight and being not tight enough. you know how the day's been? I had the heater on like max blast in the car.
You did.
And if you know me, you know I'm sweaty all the time. So I normally have the car on like 60 to 65 max. And I was like, crank that baddie up. And I had the music playing super loud because I'm also like half deaf now, I guess.
I mean, if you have like any sort of sinus thing, that will like knock out your hearing.
Real OGs remember Vine. Who remembers Vine? Evie doesn't. Everyone point and laugh.
I do know what Vine is.
Uncultured. Boo.
Actually, the thing that would be uncultured would be like, you know, I did not realize Vine wasn't a thing for a while.
I'm a sweaty gamer confirmed. I am a sweaty gamer.
Yeah, they got a point.
But you know what's so funny? I'm a sweaty gamer, but my hands are always dry. When I'm gaming, I don't really get clammy hands. But you know who does get clammy hands?
We have that on camera.
What were we playing? We were playing,
Sonic
and your
Superstars.
hands were literally like dripping. Girl, that was crazy. Because I get sweaty. I'll tell you. Hey, I already know. We're all old here. We are. Isn't that sad?
Yes, it is.
Youngest one in the chat, raise your hand. Just kidding, it's Willow. It's not me.
Yeah, it's Willow.
I know, I could have won, but alas. But, I liked... This, everyone's like, TikTok was great before Vine. Or what was it? TikTok's better than Vine. Or something like that. Vine was good, but only in the nostalgia sense. TikTok, I think because it's still going on and it hasn't been closed off, there's so much going on, so it's hard to find like the super iconic whatever TikToks because there's so much all the time.
Whatever TikToks.
Yeah. Maeve is actually the youngest here. Oh, Maeve is here.
I'm
Shout out to my girl.
I'm glad we're
Shout out
here
to my
to
girl
be-
Maeve in the chat. Maeve, dap me up if you can hear me. Boom. Dapped up the baby, yo. Let's freaking go. I've never dapped up a child before. It brings me a sense of joy.
I feel like you have many times.
I have shown Evie like YouTube compilations of Vines.
I usually find them funny.
Okay, I was like, most of the time you sit there stone faced.
That's unfortunately
No
because I don't
reaction.
react very well.
And I'm sitting there like, hee hee, this is so funny. You know what it is? You know when you have a really funny video and you want to show someone and you're like, oh, I hope they like this, and then they watch it and you're sitting there the whole time watching them and then they don't react and then like your whole day is ruined.
The
'cause
funny
you're like,
thing.
this was so funny to me and now I feel dumb. Like, am I not funny? That's
No, the
me
thing is,
showing you
I
anything.
am the worst about reacting. I literally go to you to get reactions.
Real life reenactment. Me getting Evie. Evie, what's something I get you for Christmas you really wanted? Did I get you anything? I got Olivia something she really wanted. Did I get you anything you really wanted for Christmas?
Probably.
I don't remember. Here's Evie. Imagine Evie, all she wants for her whole life. Imagine she's like, I want this Stitch collectible figurine. Is that a police? I'm calling the weed. I have that compilation. Is that a weed? I'm calling the police. 911, what's your emergency? And then there's the other one where he taps with a tortilla chip. Does this take card? No, actually it takes chip. And he's like, tortilla chip. And he's like, doesn't work like that. And then goes, but then what?
I feel like
These
you have
kind of
shown
hurting
me.
behind my ears.
I feel like
I'm young. Inner thoughts, my
Oh,
packers.
is DJ joining us for the first time?
DJ, you're older than me. Correct?
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure he's older than me.
Oh, you're older than Evie? Then, yeah. You can be old. You can be old. Hey, anyone under the... That's what I thought. I was like, you're not younger than me.
Okay, so
28, so you're Evie's exact. I thought you guys were. I thought you were the same age.
I knew
You
we were
28?
I knew.
Today I couldn't remember what age I was. Not in an ironic sense, like in a real like,
When
oh
is
my
it
god,
ever-
I don't know how
When is
old
it
I
ever
am.
in an ironic
Well,
sense,
sometimes
though?
you're like, oh, haha, I can't remember how old I
After
am.
you get
I'm
past
so funny,
21,
quirky, different.
it's never in an ironic sense.
I
It's
like
always in a sad
legit
sense.
could not remember my age. I was like, this is embarrassing. 26. I'm 26. That's how I. 1 year old. 2 years old starting today. What was I talking about? Oh, Evie. Like, if you get her, I think Evie is like a month older. Yeah, she's got a September birthday. So September 8th. September 8th is Evie's birthday, and then mine is December 8th. That's so weird. What? I always say 2 months, but it's 3
Well,
months.
the funny thing is that I had a birthday of September 8th, and like 2 of my other friends, and one other random guy had a birthday on September 8th. I'm like,
Yeah.
What are the
September and
odds of
December
that?
8th turned out to be super common birthdays, I guess. But I'm like, Evie, imagine Evie wants a rare collectible Stitch. And she wanted it for 5 years, and you've been scrounging, fighting. You've picked up 10 jobs to pay for this one Stitch. You give it to her for Christmas. Real life, live slug react to Evie we're gonna pretend this little moon stuffy is Stitch. Yay!
That's me trying.
That's Evie. Like, it's not a bad thing. I want to clarify. That's not a bad thing. That's Evie. But I'm like, if you're like sitting there going, I'm very expressive, reactive all the time.
Wakes up in the morning and just does that.
I don't want to be this way. I just can't stop.
I'm glad.
Me in my classroom, my co-teacher was like, we're like, why is every other class so quiet? And then we come in and we're like, good morning, honors, woo! We're like,
I think you guys have to pump yourself up, because if you don't, you're just gonna sit down and cry.
Literally, I'm hitting there. I'll do this on my little chair. Yes, I'll do my little dance. Yes, I'm like, do my little dancey dance in the morning.
Well, you
trying to hype myself up at carpool line.
I kid you not, Madeline, when she wakes in the morning, she just looks up, just screams, and then like turns over and gets on her phone.
I do have to watch TikTok for half an hour in the morning. That's why I'm late to work every day. I wasn't late to work on Wednesday because it was a special event day. Otherwise, I'm in this awful habit of I'm late to work every single day. Because I have to watch TikTok for half an hour in the morning. Because I just need that, you know?
You know, and sometimes we need that.
Shout out to that one random guy. Who's the one random guy?
Who's the one random guy?
I don't know. Chris said. Chris? Is your name Chris? Who? Eric. Oh my god!
You always want to call him Chris.
Eric, I want you to be so real for right now. I always want to call you Chris, and I don't know why. We have a friend,
fair,
Chris.
My dad also always wants to call you Chris.
It's like, we have a friend, Chris, but he's black, so you don't look like him at all.
Not at all.
I always want to call you Chris, and I don't know why. You just got that Chris face.
Chris face. For the whole first month
I
you played
don't know
D&D
why.
with us, everyone in my family wanted to call you Chris.
So you've got a Chris face, yo.
Chris face.
Evie mentioned a random guy before. Who's the random guy you mentioned?
Which when?
Really? Not Chris? Oh, Chris is your middle name? That's so crazy. You should go by Chris. You've got a Chris face. You know?
You got
Chris
Chris face.
Just fits. Chris fits your face. Eric fits your face too, but I feel like Chris really fits your face better.
Chris really fits your face.
Do we know? I lied. Wow.
Okay, well, you've just broken our trust.
Muted the mic.
You've just.
Hey man, why would you do that to me?
We're
Hey, why would you?
Okay,
Large tentacled.
I'm never gonna trust you again.
I don't know
ever.
enough Twitch. That's so funny. I lied. LOL. Dang, bro, the way you just really play with my emotions like that. I did. Dabs, and you know those little things that's like asterisk. Whenever people do that, it always reminds me of like early Discord culture, where they maybe not Discord, but it'd be like nuzzles you affectionately inside the asterisk. Evie, here's the thing. I think that's funny meme culture. Evie's like friend group does that unironically and means it well intentionally. But I am a bully, and I think that's funny to bully those people on the internet.
I didn't even get a chance to say anything about it.
Your face told me everything I need to know. Because Evie's so expressionless, I know her expressions really well. Because
you both, at the same one hand, you complain that I don't express enough. On the other hand, you're just like, but I know it.
You're so expressionless that I can read your tiny little expression.
So do you want me to express or not?
She had a little guilty, like, play back to clips. You could see she had a slight guilty expression change because Evie role plays like casually, which I think isn't harmful. I do it ironically minus the role play because that's he said that's cringe, bro. I don't think
that's how you also get italics in Discord.
Thoughts from the I want to be the court. You guys are the court. That's the new name for our chat is the court. Thoughts from the court. Do you think roleplay is cringe? Thoughts?
It depends what kind and under what
Hands
circumstances.
in the air for yes. That's what I've been doing in my class recently. I'm like, if you need to go potty, stand up and do a hula. If you don't need to go potty, lay down on your stomach because I need them to be alone. I'll bully people with you. Let's go! 2 people in the roleplay is cringe.
Roleplay?
Hey, what did I say about bullying me? Only I can bully other people. If you bully me, I will cry. I put that in my winter guard. We had to do our contracts. In my contract, I literally said, if you yell at me, I will cry on the floor. Like, some people were like, I don't want to run. I was like, you can make me run. You can make me, do whatever. If you make me cry. Literally, bullying is cringe, bro. I'm cringe, but I'm free, baby. Let's go. All of you guys are nerds. I say as I own like 15 Hatsune Miku figurines. Hey, man. cringe is freedom. Depends on the role play. We literally get together to role play professionally as adults. So I agree. Not all role play.
I'm like, if anyone
cringe.
says it's cringe, well, we're all in a D&D
We're
group
literally
together.
yeah. It's like we literally all do D&D together. So therefore, that's fine. But I think the role play where it's like nuzzles you affectionately. There's this one meme. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. Let me see if I can find. I'm completely surrounded by Hololive plushies, so I can't talk. That's what I'm saying. Like, I will bully people irrationally, and then I sleep on a bed. Here's the mattress, and then here's the 4 feet of stuffed animals I lay on top of. So I bully you, but no,
And
it's because I hate myself.
On the topic of roleplay for a moment there, it also depends what kind you're talking about. Because, for instance, Madeline said before, I'm in a lot of online roleplay groups, but I need to specify is
You might
that's
need to
in
move
like...
the mic closer to you.
Well, it's because the table's all the way over there, and there's no way I can...
moved it. Sorry.
And I can't move it closer to myself. Madeline's gonna now do the obstacle course, which is... go through the bathroom. The obstacle course of chords. So, anyway, so, to get... I'm in what is, like, a lot of our online Poker Mystery Dungeon roleplay groups. But to specify in exactly what that is, it's not any different than, like, a regular art group. It's more like you create characters, you make art, you make...
Art. Sorry. She said it's not any different than and regular art group.
Yeah, because I was trying to move it closer to me before. But... But essentially, so the idea is that, like, you know, it's... For my case, I'm posting stories with the characters I make. And if you do, like, an RP with someone, you know, you're doing your things back and forth. It's the whole interactive thing. But very rarely are you ever doing it in the idea of you're taking a first-person perspective. Largely because the problem with first-person is, while it can be written well, it's also probably one of the easiest writing styles to get wrong. Hence why you relate a lot with first-person as a sort of cringe sort of thing. Because first-person is something that takes skill to do. Like, I've read books, like, actual, like, classic...
Melly is just part of my brain that exists. Okay, sorry, Jane. You keep saying.
You think I know how to play anyone that isn't my brain? Like, it's the reason I don't do voices, because I only got one me.
I brought Quagsire, so then sometimes when I need a reality check, I'll be like, I'm not a nerd. Quagsire plushie.
I mean, who doesn't want a Quagsire plushie, though?
Just everyone knows that
Quagsire's
I'm
awesome.
being, it's me, it's reaffirming that I'm not role-playing. That's what I'm saying, like, Bing Bong is not me role-playing. Bing Bong is me releasing my inner self. My inner self that's a little old man who just wants to
We all know
bang
you're
everything.
a little... That grew over time, though.
That's so funny because it's not originally part of Bing Bong's
That was
character.
not originally
it's because
part of
I
him at all.
accidentally married like 3 people in a row, and then it worked every time. So now it's just part of his character. That was definitely not what I said.
When Madeline pitched this character to me, that was never part
He's
of the deal.
supposed to be serious and like, ooh.
You've tried that like
trash.
3 times
no,
now.
you know who he is supposed to be? He's supposed to be Danny DeVito. You know that clip? I'm the trash man. I come out and I throw trash in the ring, and then I start eating garbage. That's my whole inspiration for Bing Bong was the Danny DeVito trash man bit. And I was like, okay, slay, that's Bing Bong. And now he's Mr. Casanova. I have 40 kids, and I can't stop being in love with everyone.
I can't stop people coming on
Most
to me.
of my characters end up being dad.
That's
fair. Charlie can be my dad. You might have said dad, but I say dad. Charlie's my dad. Shout out to Charlie.
Yeah, Charlie's been very helpful lately.
Shout out to my man.
Although
Charlie.
I'm also somewhat nervous about going into our boss fight on Saturday.
Well, here's the thing.
Because I'm drawing the line in the sand right now. I'm not arguing distance again.
What do you mean distance?
AKA, we're not using math in order to figure out someone's jumping distance. We're just going to say it's your strength score and call it a day.
Hey, I can jump pretty far then.
When we have to bring math into D&D any more than we already have to bring math into D&D, I'm just like, okay, my head's spinning now.
I want to find that meme. Who knows that meme where it's like, sorry, going back on the roleplay thing, where it's like the gets hit by a truck cutely, but it's an asterisk. Has everyone seen that one? Gets hit by a truck cutely, dies.
So anyway, what I was originally saying, because we're going to be jumping around topics anyway, because I have no other way I know how to exist. But, so, getting back to the roleplay thing, so essentially, like, the online roleplay I know the most of is essentially, like, long-form storytelling. you're essentially going and, like, even if you're role-playing with another person, it's like you send a part of a story, they send the part of the story, and you go back and forth and you creatively make a story together. But, like, not much different from, like, you know, if you were to do D&D, but in written format as opposed to in speech format. Because I'm much better in writing than I am speaking. I'm far more comfortable with it, I feel like I have a lot more control over it, and also writing's kind of my thing. So, you know, that's... You're hoping the other mics will pick you up then. But, like, so my whole thing is that, like, I really, also, it's because the way my just brain works that, like, when I'm, like, super focusing on something, I can be very, like, distinct. But when I'm trying to, like, talk, it's like I'm doing a bunch of different things. Also, writing, inherently, you're putting out your finished thoughts with all the proper, like, bells and whistles in it, and you're putting it into the world, so you know you're doing the right, like, you know, that's your intention. My problem with, I have, like, a negative social filter, so I have no idea how to read people half the time. So it means my thoughts are usually being, like, my resources essentially are usually being hogged up by trying to figure, like, okay, is this person still engaging with me? Am I saying something? Have I said something wrong yet? I don't know, you know? Because as much as I'm not very good at expressing, I'm also really not good at, like, reading other people's expressions. I'm very good at feeling a room, but I'm not good at, like, necessarily picking up where the angry vibes are coming up from. So, like, that's why I prefer, like, written things, because then, like, even if there are misunderstandings in writing, too, it's more of a fact of, like, you can go and be like, I actually use, like, emojis a lot in writing to help, because it helps, like, me determine, like, okay, I'm trying to get a happy thing here. That's easy. I can just say that. While in real life, and you go and say, like, I'm feeling happy right now, even if I'm not showing in my face, people get worried about you. Which happened a lot in middle school. I had a teacher who was always concerned that I was...
Is there a character named Asterisk? Why can't I find it?
Potentially.
There's a character named Asterisk in anime, I guess.
Just potentially.
Why can't
I had a middle school teacher who was always concerned about me because I was never smiling. Like, she never seen me smile, and I'm just like, sorry, I guess. I mean, she was also our grammar teacher, so, and the reason I'm so good at writing now is because we had a middle school teacher who taught our English and grammar like a college would in middle school. That's why I'm so good at grammar and stuff now. Which, I mean, was hard at the time, but I'm grateful for now because it really was something that my brain was kind of, like, built for. Is, like, finding things and editing things. That's why I, like, can do video editing, or I'm really good at giving feedback, especially in a written format. Like, I know how to look at those sort of things, like, really closely. We need to play Fiasco one day. I'm assuming it's a board game of some sort. My also problem is sometimes is that, like, if I feel under pressure to do anything, I also find it really hard to, like, react, so that's why sometimes, like, I think I'm getting better. I obviously have always... My struggle is, like, D&D in one hand is everything I, like, want in a game, but the problem is, like, the social aspect of it is the thing that, like, makes me freeze up. So on the other hand, it's, like, it's very hard for me to read people. Sometimes it's very hard to tell what's the person's character, what's the person. And so it's, like, and I also, like, I have trouble pulling myself out of it sometimes. So, like, you know, if we end up on a place where, like, I feel like, you know, really bad things happen to our characters or my character or whatever like that, it will, like, sit with me for a while to the point where I'm, like, I will be, like, reluctant to go back in because I don't really... It's kind of like when you're reading a story and you know something bad's about to happen and you're in between, like, being like, oh, I want to see what happens in the next chapter, or, oh, no, something bad's going to happen. I don't want to see the next chapter. I want to see how this goes. And, like, you know, your anticipation is going to kill you more. So, like... D&D I had the same struggle with. I mean, I think I'm doing better now. I've played a couple of, like, characters, and I also think it takes the right group for me to feel comfortable enough to kind of just let myself be. Because otherwise I'm constantly, like, you know... This kind of comes from, like, me and Mel were talking a little bit about, like, masking and stuff the other day. This kind of comes from, like, a long history of doing that. And constantly being like, okay, am I doing the right thing right now? Am I doing the thing that's going to make people go away? You know, did I say something that was unintentionally, like, I was going for sarcasm, but someone thought I meant it literally, you know, stuff like that. And so I I have that thing. As much as you want to let go of all that when you're playing a game like D&D, it's very hard to do sometimes, especially if it's with people you don't know, or more importantly, you're afraid don't know how you work. And then you're like, I'm not trying to be mean, I promise right now. But then, you know, that always just sounds insincere saying it after the fact. So
I sent a meme unrelated to what you're talking about right now, but if you'd like to look at it, it relates to the topic of hyperfixation.
I have this one video I want to put in our like little group fam chat that I made for us on Discord. That's literally about like, you know, special interest and hyperfixation, because I'm like, on one hand, I like that the way they explain special interest, which really kind of helps explain.
Right now.
What?
I was not listening.
Yeah.
My meme is actually topical for once. I wasn't listening because I was really lost in the sauce, but I'm glad that. Let me show you exactly. No, let me hold that. Anyways, if you want the best memes, Pinterest. I'm telling you, Pinterest has got the good. Alright, back to what your intellectual conversation. Let me put Quagsire on the screen.
Intellectual conversation.
Back to your intellectual conversation.
But essentially, so like I might put it in the chat at some point. It's like it's also a good video to just put in the background because the person's, you know, like they're pretty good at holding a conversation. But the thing I like about it is it's someone who's going essentially explaining how like special interests work, which is essentially like what I was explaining when we started this. Like your special interests are almost kind of like, it's almost like a like. It is a bit like, you know, when you really like something, but it's also in some ways like a compulsion. Like, it can be good sometimes that your special interest happens to line up with, say, like, a project. Or, like, you can, or like maybe an artwork, a writing thing, like, because when you have a special interest and it's lining up, you can get really easy into your kind of zen hyperfixation mode. And I still think it's funny how like jolty that like animation is from the deers turning around and they just ram up the screen.
What would you say is your current hyperfixation? This is Quagsire asking.
So, well, that's what I'm getting to. So hyperfixation essentially for like is when you're like super zoned in on something. So like my thing that I would do sometimes is like, I had a period where I was doing some really good writing in college. So I had a certain story where I was writing a series of stories, which I really still enjoy and I might go back and revisit someday, called The Chronomancer. And that was a story and set of characters I was super zoned in on. So I was like hyper fixated on. So it means I was just writing lots of stories, lots of ideas. And I usually wrote things at like not the healthiest hour. So like we're talking 2 a.m. and stuff like that. For some reason, I was just tired enough that I could kind of like get over my overthinking brain to where I could just like really focus in on the story. So, but the difference there is when you have like, for instance, where I'm talking about like with special interest, is that that's the thing that like, no matter what, your brain keeps coming back to, even if you're trying to focus on something else, which is when it can get frustrating. So case in point, like currently right now, I would say my special interest that it's been probably for the last month or so has been oscillating between Hazbin Hotel and Detroit Become Human. And these are things that, like, you know, I actually watch those two things pretty far apart from each other. But for some reason, my brain is just right now being like, you have to be consuming this all the time. You have to be thinking about this all the time. This is why I go and make, like, Pokemon-based characters based off of these other products. Because by putting it into something physical I can work on, like a story, like artwork, I can go and actually, like, try and get some of that nervous energy out. Because the thing is, when you're, like, if you have a certain special interest at the time, sometimes it's a thing you choose, and sometimes it's just a thing that your brain says, I love this right now, and it's all you can think about. So I'll write about it, I'll make Pokemon characters off of it, I will watch videos, I'll watch making up, I will know every fact you possibly could ask me about this. And special editions aren't necessarily things that, like, you know, usually they'll last for somewhere between, like, a month to 6 months. And usually then they'll die down. Not necessarily that you'll lose interest in them necessarily, but just like it'll go down to where you feel like you can control it again, like when you can go and like I can now focus on other things. Or more likely what happens to me a lot of times, something else takes my interest and that will be the new thing I'm fixated on. And I never realized this is something I regularly did since like elementary school, but I didn't realize that's what I was doing. I just called it phases at the time. Because I'm like, oh, I go through different phases where I like super love something. I remember probably the biggest one that I like got into that I can't remember how was like dragons. I don't even remember when I started liking dragons. Just at some point I decided I loved them so much, and I was drawing them, I was writing them, I was purchasing every book on them. You remember the Dragonology books, Malin? We have
Yo, shout out to my man Dragonology books.
like we had like that was all I wanted to think about.
The way you want to know how real our Dragonology addiction was? Hey, my Neopets usernames are all Dragonology themed.
They are.
One of them is Spectrobes in Dragonology, and the other 3 are just purely Dragonology.
So like
Steven Universe, Dragons, Fire Emblem. Telling us yours? Tell us ours.
No, I think DJ's is naming all the ones that I went through in college.
Because I do similar to, I feel like you do long, really in-depth, really thought-out hyperfixation, and you really like delve into it, explore the full entirety of your hyperfixation, versus I do the opposite, where I'm like, I want to dip my toes in, and then I want to change, because if I get too deep, I'll get obsessed. I'll get obsessed.
That's actually kind of
like the complete opposite of you.
That's why, well, that's the thing with like hyperfixation versus like a special interest, is that hyperfixation is something that actually goes between a lot of different neurodivergent things. Like obviously you can see it with like autism and stuff like that, but it's also a very common one to find with ADHD. Because like once you find that thing that's giving you that like mental stimulation, you're like, yes, more now, and that's how you get super fixated.
But I'm like, we literally have like this right here. This is actually from Yu-Gi-Oh, I believe. Unrelated.
I have to read the chat.
We got it because it was a cool.
So let's see, Hasbin Hotel staying with my brain. Oh yeah.
Hey, I listened to the Hasbin Hotel soundtrack the whole way home on like
all the time.
Mega full blast.
Ruby, Steven Universe, Dragons, Fire Emblem. Yeah, those are actually probably in the reverse order of which they occurred. I still have Dragon Mini. I painted for your campaign that died. Yeah. I did originally try to, we did try to have a campaign, and it was, sadly, I don't think that was the one that got killed by COVID, but it was one of those that just died. Think of all the little Eevees out there. Yeah, well, the thing is...
Hey, like, some of the kids in the preschool...
Yeah.
Are, like...
We've seen...
Super, like, Patrick was super into Pokemon. He's still into it. But right now he's going into, like, a Lego Ninjago phase. Where he's still got like 5 Pokemon keychains on his backpack. He also wants to build, Lego sets and such.
Yep, makes sense.
And one kid in my class is super obsessed with Charizard. I always say Charizard, specifically Charmander. Charmander specifically is the one. He doesn't like Charizard.
Which fair.
And we have one kid who's super into trains. We have some girls who... I feel like ebb and flow more based off of each other's opinion in my class, at least specifically. Like princesses, Frozen, that kind of stuff.
Well,
the boys we have are hype. Like, they are in it.
So the thing that, I think that definitely, like, again, I'll have to link the video in our chat later. But, like, I like this person because the way they explain hyperfixation versus special interest is literally the difference between how me and Malin go through things. Is that one of them is, again, has, like, more, like, how do you say it? You kind of, like, you dip it in and then you go, like, quickly between?
I dip and I go quickly, because if I delve too deep into it, it gets me too stimulated. And, you know, like I'm saying, like, I like to jump back and forth because I don't like to get deep emotional vulnerability stuff. I'm in therapy, don't worry about it. But it's like, that kind of stuff, like, I don't... That, for me, I don't like to delve deep and I like to just dip, I'm out, in, out, I'm out again, Versus Eevee likes to do, like, it's probably a better cycle, where you spend a couple weeks in it, you really invest into it,
maybe.
And then when you're done, you can put it away until you're ready to see again. Versus I, like, constantly am jumping between, like, 4 or 5 things and never really quite getting what I want out of it, but I'm, that kind of stuff.
Well, the thing that probably the biggest thing that's like the difference between that is that like when you're doing like my special interest usually would last between 1 and like 3 or 4 months, and usually the way that I got off them was usually funny enough, was usually when I got off them was usually the period when I could tell Malin was sick of hearing me tell her about it for the 14th time. You like had a point where I was so into Sonic at the time, and you're like,
well, here's the
please
thing.
tell me about anything else.
Sonic. I was really tired of hearing about the Sonic X TV show because I really hate the main character. And whenever I hate a character, I don't want to hear about them. So this main character called Chris? Okay, I don't remember his name because I locked it out of my memory.
Not to be confused with Chris Eric Chris.
Not to be confused with Chris Eric Chris. Completely unrelated. I don't know why he looks like a Chris.
I know.
I don't know, man.
I don't know, but Dad thinks so too.
You just have a Chris face. You know how some people have a face? There was somebody the other day where I was like, that doesn't fit their face at all. Somebody's name. And I was like, that's not your name. I don't remember who it was. But somewhere I was like, that's not you. That's incorrect name. Change your name. That's wrong. Oh, it was somebody named their kid Margaret something. It was some old lady name. I was like, why would you name your kid that? I don't care who your kid is. You don't name your kid old people names. Why did I start talking? What was I saying?
I don't know. I was paying attention.
Sonic X, either way. That character was really annoying. And when I really don't like things, for me, the best thing to do, because I get angry real quick, the best thing for me to do is just to tap out and just be like, boop, bye. I gotta get out of here. Hey, I don't like it. But Evie would want, because of her hyperfixation, wants to talk about it. And I don't mind the whole show, but I hate the character first. And she does it sometimes when you talk about things that I'm like, I don't like, I would say when you talk about Fire Emblem Heroes, I get this similar way where I'm like, it frustrates me and there's nothing I can physically do to change it. Sometimes you're like, well, if it's in a game and I make a different choice in the game, I don't have to go down that path. That one I don't mind because you're like, oh, if we're talking about, Dead by Daylight or something like that, and you're like, oh, well, if I don't do this, or, what's the other one called? Not by Dead by Daylight, it's the wrong name. What's it called? Dead by Dawn by, what's that name?
Until Dawn?
Until Dawn. Hey, man.
I'm like, what game are you trying to get at here?
My best to not.
I don't think we've had a conversation on Dead by Daylight.
Work tomorrow. Hey, shout out to all my people doing a 9 to 5 out there. How the freak do you do it? How do you work a 9 to 5 job? How do you work a full-time job and not shove yourself in a gutter every morning? That's my question for you. Anyways, I'm moving on.
I'll make a new D&D character named Chris just to let
that would really mess me. And it's exactly you. It's
just
you exactly. He's an NPC. I'm literally at work right now. How do you do that? Hey man, how do you work? Well, you work crazy shifts. You work 12-hour shifts.
Yeah.
How do all my full-time homies out there, how do you freaking do this? Because this is here's the deal. You work till 7. Yeah, you work crazy shifts, bro. That doesn't count. Your job's crazy hard. You always work crazy hard jobs, so you're just a trooper.
Yeah, you
Not
are.
me.
You honestly are.
I'm the first. I'm a whiner, baby. I'm the first to tell you. I am
DJ is the MVP.
I'm a whiner. I will not do that. We need money to live. We do, but is there jobs where I'd actually
That's the whole thing. It's is there any option that's doesn't take your soul away?
Because here's the thing. I've always worked jobs that add up to full time. They just normally are odd jobs that I'm hopping around. In 2021, I work preschool in the morning for 4 hours. Then I work at Sanderson for 2 or 3 hours, and then I'd work at Athens for 3 hours. So throughout the course of the day, it was an 8-hour. Well, I guess what's that? 4 and 3 is already 7, and 3 more, so I'd work 10 hours, and then I'd drive an hour between each location. So I'd be out for 13 hours a day, and it didn't feel as exhausting. As my job is easier now, my full-time job is way easier, but for some reason it's so much more exhausting. Because, when I did that one, I was also working in the office, which is definitely less physically taxing than a classroom. How?
Oh, yeah.
Separate work with life. I get home at 5-ish and then lose myself in the games. Separate work with life. Separate work with life.
Probably separate work from
that would
life.
probably be easier to do. I would agree. I feel like if I went to an office and sat down in an office and got up and left, and when I left I could leave my job at my job, it'd be a little bit easier. I have a bad habit of not being able to.
My thing that sucks is that on one hand my brain craves routine predictability, because that another fun fact, so it's not, I really got another dragon on top of my dragon. Are you kidding me?
Haha, have fun charging that one, but I forgot you were playing a game. I'm gonna be so real quagsized in front of the screen, so I 100% forgot you were playing a video game right now. I thought we were just sitting and chatting.
We are pretty much sitting and chatting. I just don't know how I pulled another dragon on top of that. Anyway, so the point is that it's kind of like one of the ideas. It's not entirely known because there's still a lot of research that needs to be done and like kind of double check, since a lot of the research things were like, here are young white males. That's the only research we need to do. I'm sure that's fine.
Shout out to our young white male in the chat. Young white male of the court.
I mean,
speak
young.
your piece.
I mean, young in terms of like below the age of 10. Like, because there's like no like adult research on any of these things. But the point being is that
back to work. Peace.
Is that
bye, DJ. Have fun at work.
Thank you for stopping in for 5 minutes. We enjoyed your presence.
Yeah.
But essentially, the idea is that special
work,
interest kind of came about, at least according to like some theories, is the idea of it gives you something that like by knowing all the things about you can control.
Hello.
And your brain kind of like craves that control. So it's that's one of at least the theories about it. And same kind of thing for also hyperfixation is that it's like, you know, there was once a time where like that actually would have been really good, like, you know, if you were like a hunter-gatherer and stuff like that, and you were just the person that could like really focus in on like hunting something or gathering berries or whatever it would, like it was very helpful then. I mean, now it doesn't serve as much of a purpose, but you know, that's fun. I'm so glad they didn't give me another dragon. I swear, if they gave me another dragon, I had to charge up 3 of these guys at the same time.
Maeve in the chat, let's go.
Okay, what else can I do here? That's gonna die, those are gonna die. I guess I can move. Get rid of that. Put that there.
Live.
But, so, I am young right now. I'm just gonna have to glance over the chat every once in a while. So essentially the whole thing is that, you know...
I'm also just a big whiny baby.
So, my brain, like, both craves, like, routine, because it's predictable and it's safe. And if I know what's coming, I like, that's where, like, 90% of my anxiety definitely comes from. My controllers are on right now.
Oh, it's because you have your weird ones.
Yeah. Again, special edition Scarlet and Violet controller / OLED Switch I have here, and they don't have drift. They just for some reason randomly lose connection even though the lights are on, and I'm like 5 feet away from my Switch. What the heck's going on here? Oh my gosh. I'm gonna have to buy another dragon because I don't have anything to charge this dragon up right now. It's gonna get killed. I have a lot of gold at this point because I've been grinding, but I'm like, it's still annoying. I'm still frustrated by it. Yeah, because I'm not gonna have enough moves to move that guy. Okay, fine. Well, I mean, I'll move this just in case he doesn't die. But, so on one hand, I crave, like, routine. Being able to predict what's going to happen in a setting really helps me, and at least narrows down my anxiety, because that's a whole, like, lack of control and not the unknown and stuff like that. But, at the same time, I also have, like, the attention issues where it's kind of like I constantly need to be, like, stimulated in some way, and I need, like, new tasks. That's why doing the same thing every day can, on one hand, be helpful, but on the other hand, I have to find ways to keep myself engaged with that. That's why, like, I didn't like doing, like, social media posts, because, like, I could plan them all out, and I feel so productive, like, okay, I got 4 planned out for the week, and then I'd be like, now what? And they're like, oh, well, just do that again. I'm like, well, that's boring, and, you know, it'd be hard for me to do. Not to mention, I do things that I feel I have to feel are, like, meaningful in some way, so that's why I have some trivial social posts. Like, Olivia's great with it, because she can do, like, a random photo every day to just do an update. I'm like, for me, I have to do things that have, like, meaning and purpose behind them as like a writer. So it's just, social media was like something that like, oh, you can do that because you're a young person, and I'm just like, no, it's not how that works. In fact, I have like the least social media in our house, I think. I think, except for maybe Dad, but Mom definitely does more than I do. Olivia and Madeline easily do. Elliot definitely does. Like, I have like the minimum amount of any of that stuff, because again, it's like something that it will keep my attention for a little bit, and then I'll fall off from it and just not do anything with it again. And I mean, kind of even gacha games can be like that, where you're just like, it has me for a while, and I'll be super into it, and I'll gather so much resources, and I'll be like, okay, now I've reached the peak ceiling on this, I don't really have anything else to do now. Man. I only had 2 dragons? When did I lose my other dragon? I used to have 3 dragons. Okay, I'm off to buy more dragons. Right? Social media is a skill in and of itself that they should really make a degree for at this point. Like, I hate when they say communications and the first thing they want to do is put you on social media. Okay, my controller is right here. Like, it's literally, they're both glowing, and for some reason it's just not registering it's here. Like, it's not even a drift thing, it's just like, oh my gosh, that's why, which is fine, to be fair. I use my OLED mostly in handheld mode because of the better screen. So I'm not totally bothered by that. But
running social media equal hard, watch TikTok equal fun. That's so true. Whenever I used to try and advertise for, like, when I was like, oh, I'm gonna do an art account, I'll advertise it. I was like, this sucks. This is the freaking worst.
Yeah, social
when
media,
I'm on
really
TikTok, I'm
like a math equation almost.
Ooh, I'm scrolling. I had to move my timer down to half an hour because I was spending like 10 hours
animal
daily.
Dragons are. I need to buy 2 more of these because my other 2 died. I also have to go get the unicorns. I haven't even got the unicorns yet. I need to go get the unicorns. I totally forgot I haven't done that yet. And they are a very good unit, so let's see how they ruined those sprites in this game.
How long do you think you're planning to play tonight?
How are we doing right now?
It's 9 o'clock right now.
Okay.
I'm just deciding whether I need to go up and get my jewelry or not.
I'd like to get to the end of the story mode. I'm going to go.
I'll go get my jewelry. I was just wondering if I need to. I'll do soothing and satisfying, messing up jewelry.
I'm gonna go fight this.
Hey, look, another elf twink.
So, yeah, I'm looking at the unicorns. They don't. It's the way their manes are flowing is a little weird, but they don't look bad. I definitely think the deer look worse. Anyway, so, gosh, where were we? And this is also the reason the way that me and Madeline talk. Like, anyone who's been in a room with us when we're holding a conversation, it's kind of why a lot of people have asked us to do, like, podcast or radio or what. They're like, you guys need to be on, like, air somehow because the way you hold conversation is just entertaining to listen to. And we're like, oh, this is just the way we talk. But it's because of the fact that, like, Madeline and I can keep essentially 3 plot threads going usually at any given time. And just kind of go with that. Because, like, we're able to, like, essentially keep track of, like, whatever we're talking about, whatever the other one's talking about, and then just kind of, like, bounce back and forth. Which not a lot of people do, but that also just because we know each other really well. As well, so, like, I sometimes feel bad for other people who are trying to keep up in conversation with us. Okay, I totally thought he was not going to kill my deer there. That's just annoying. Now I'm going to have to buy more deer. Man, this guy sucks. Anyway, so, like, I did kill his unicorn, though, so I guess fair is fair. And I got another dragon again. Great. The only problem with doing that is when you're fighting someone who has only archers, and you're like, cool. Let me see if I can actually charge this thing up before you all die. That would be great, wouldn't it? Okay, let's see. I can make a wall. There. I need you, and I need... I mean, these units are great, like the really powerful ones, but like, man, sometimes just charging them up, you're like, great, now that's in the field and I have to do that, and you're like, it'll be good once you charge it up, but in the moment you're just like, please don't die before I get there because you're expensive to buy more of. This person's only level 7 though, so I should be fine getting through him. I'm level 9. I think I'm actually level 10 at this point because I have level 10. You max out your HP at 100. I do remember that, but essentially, like, go back to special interests and stuff like that, like, that's why, like, if I can turn something into a task related to something I enjoy, I can be really proficient at it. This is also, like, but, like, you know, usually when you're, like, done with, a special interest, you'll be, like, I used to call them phases, because it'd be, like, I'd be really into something, and then I would be done with it, and I wouldn't come back to it for a while, until it maybe got an update, or maybe I was just, you know, just something's had my interest and brought it back in and stuff like that. And there's also some like special interests that you just kind of always have. They're always there. They like may dull over time or just get like more controllable. But like there's some things that you'll always have. Like I am always interested in Pokemon. That's been probably one of my biggest ones is Pokemon. I know so much about that. It's like it's such an incredible part of my identity because it's like like, I'm writing about it, I'm drawing it, I was drawing some today. Like, it's a lot of, it's always on my mind in some way or another. And then, like, probably the other one in terms of game series would probably be Fire Emblem. Love that series a lot. I still think I would like to do a retrospective of some sort on them. I just need to look up how to do retrospective essays. I did get into Liberty University Online, so I'm going to be starting to take some classes to work on to get my master's in creative writing. Because really, and the thing is like, it's not even like with a necessarily like goal in mind, like there's this one job I want that I can only get with a master's. It's more like, I just want to know how to write better. I want to know how I could, like, you know, write a novel. Like, I do generally enjoy learning about stuff and learning new skills, so, like, you know, school is always a good thing for me, because it gives me set, like, deadlines, set, like, areas of boundaries in which to do things in, but also gives me room for creativity. So usually the way I would find my way through stuff like assignments is I would just connect it to something else that I was super interested in. And then, you know, you could write papers in, like, an evening. Oh, yeah, thank you. It literally took them until like the day before class registration closed to tell me I was actually in, and even then they never sent me like an email or a letter or anything. It was just, oh, you can now register for classes. Good thing you checked on your thing. For an online university, their like online experience seems to have a lot of issues. Like some things that they just need to like iron out at some point, but it was pain and a half just to get to my account to work. Then once I actually figured that out, yeah, we get the unicorns now. Get a couple of those. How many can I have of these? Yeah, I can only have 5, so I might as well grab them. So, I need to... The only problem is I forgot I had to get the unicorn, so now I get to go grind again, because I need to get the unicorn up to at least level 3 before I feel I can use it proficiently. I wish I would have remembered that I was leveling these up earlier, because then I would have done that. I would have been training them up with my other characters, so yay, go me. Hopefully we'll just, you know, we'll do our best here. I guess I could train the trainer, but I don't really feel like doing that, so we're just gonna put you with the deer. When you're training up another unit, it helps to have another one that's kind of strong at the moment. Back into the mines! Back into the area where I'm going to fight the level 3 demons, at least until I'm not going to... I don't have my unicorns at level 5, that's fine. I'll just... Level 3 probably good enough. I just need them strong enough they're not going to die quickly. Because the unicorn has a really good ability whenever it's in charging, it gives you like an impenetrable shield across the front row. Which is really useful, especially with the boss I'm going to be facing. But its shield is also based on its own strength, so it means I need to get mine stronger than what they are currently. Which means I gotta go through battle with them, yay. Which isn't hard. Again, there are 2 unit. Every campaign has 1 or 2 like specialty units that like are hidden somewhere and you have to beat a challenge in order to unlock them. Some even have 2. I think the Demon Path actually has 2 of those type of units. But you have to find them in like a secret location. And it'll either be an extra champion unit or an extra elite unit. So, in this case, it's an extra champion unit. Wait, no. These are elite units. Okay, come on. Not drifting, just my things... Okay. You know what? Fine, yeah. You're going there. That's my controller not responding again. Which is dumb. It did this to me so much with my Scarlet and Violet playthrough, which really just did not help me like that game at all. And again, like going to before, I like love Pokemon in the most deep sense of the word. Like, it's so much of like my thought process on a daily basis that, you know, making it so I hated Scarlet and Violet was really hard. Especially because of the fact the game's not 100% bad. It's just like 85% bad. But there's some good things in it that definitely they could build upon. But gosh, okay, for crying out loud. Okay, I might go and get different Joy-Cons. This is gonna drive me nuts. Did they... No, I'm looking at something on the units. Don't worry about it. Did they nerf the unicorn ability? The unicorn should be doing a shield across the entire bottom of the screen. It's only shielding itself and the other two next to it. Gosh, if they nerf the unicorn, I'm just gonna be very... I might have to go write a review on this game. There's some things about this that are just annoying me. Like, why? Why would you change that? This is like an easy part of the game. You didn't need to do that. Not like anyone was like super abusing it. It's, again, a very easy part of the game. There. Anyway, but, so yeah, where was I? Gosh, I love trying to follow my own thought process. You know, the other day, Melanie and I were sitting down and we were having lunch, and I think I came in there to initially tell her about fanfiction I was writing, and we must have covered like 3 different topics in the process. It was just like the weirdest thing, and I didn't even get to the topic I ultimately wanted to talk to her about, because I jumped between like 4 different things. Now, remember the other day when I told you I was trying to talk to you about that one, like, Mute Connor fic I told you I was reading, but then we talked about, like, Hazbin Hotel and Genshin and then, like, Fire Emblem and, like, we jumped to, like, 4 different topics. So sometimes I just, like, that's honestly one of the other reasons we did streaming, so we could just record ourselves and look back and be like, how did we get here? Can you actually follow our logic? Like, that's why I feel like sometimes I feel bad for people who try to hold conversations with us. Or try to, like, keep up with me when I'm having a conversation, because, like, sometimes I do go fast. And it's not, like, an intentional thing, it happens sometimes. When I get really excited about something, I can go really fast. Melanie tells me about that all the time, and sometimes she will tell me I'm doing it. Be like, okay, I can tell you're excited right now, just slow down. I'm like, alright. But the thing is, the other thing I was telling about special interest is, like, being able to talk about your special interest to somebody is like being on crack practically. Like, you are get such... It's the biggest stimulus. It's the biggest, like, just, you know, happy brain chemical sort of thing ever. And it's also kind of, in some ways, it's also kind of a huge sign of trust in a way. Like, if you feel comfortable enough that you can go, and that's, you know, that's the way I kind of, like, place myself with, like, Madeline, for instance. It's like, the person that you know you can go to and just talk about your special interest, even if you've said the same thing 4 times in a row. Like, that's a huge, like, thing. Because, again, this is something that matters, like, more than, like, anything to you, you know? Like, so, like, if I'm talking about somebody and I can feel like I just go in and be like, hey, I got this random news about Pokemon, or better yet, someone's like, hey, did you see the Pokemon Direct today and you want to talk about it? Like, that is huge. I am there. I'm all about it. I'm like, you recognize this is something I really enjoy and you're bringing it up with me and now we can talk about it and I'll have so many thoughts and I might talk for a long period of time. But, like, I also will talk in circles too. Like, I'll talk and I'll eventually wear myself out, and after that point I'll, like, kind of go into like a sort of like a resting mode, I guess, where I'll then be like, okay, I'm good. You can talk about whatever you want right now, and I will be so attentive as I listen, you know? Like, I'll be like, okay, I'm done. I've gotten my stimulation for the time being. Thank you for this. And sometimes that's honestly how I work through a lot of my anxious energy. I just go and talk about something else I need. Like, that's a good way to kind of work through it if I'm, like, particularly anxious. If I can be distracted into talking about something else. Because Melanie does that for me sometimes in the car. If, like, she knows I'm on something, and, like, or, like, just not comfortable, and she'll be like, hey, tell me about that thing. And usually that'll be the way to distract me. Or sometimes, like, she'll actually call me, like, she'll be, like, doing something like her nails or, like, a cleaning job. Or we just went to the car wash and to, like, vacuum out the car because we had junk in it. And she just, like, starts talking about Hazbin Hotel. I'm like, here's all the new information I've learned about this topic recently. Here, would you like to learn? Let's see. In-depth conversation about passion talk makes you... Yes, it does. Being real, it does. Honestly, we were talking about special interest earlier, so, like, sometimes I have trouble, like, if I'm really into it for, like, planning a D&D session, it helps, but some weeks I have trouble, like, planning D&D because I'm, like, so hyper fixated on a certain topic that my brain's like, no, you only want to think about Hazbin Hotel right now. You can't think about D&D. You need to be thinking about Hazbin Hotel right now. It doesn't matter if you've seen it, like, twice or 3 times at this point. It doesn't matter if you've been listening to the soundtrack all week. You need to be thinking about it right now. You need to be theorizing about it. You need to be thinking about these character relationships and what they might do in Season 2. And I'm like, I already did that for like 3 hours. Like, I need to be working on my my prep, and my brain's just like, no, you don't. In fact, we're gonna make it so you don't feel any satisfaction doing this task because you need to be doing your other special interest right now. And it can be just like sometimes a very frustrating thing to work around, let me tell you. And that's the honestly the biggest thing about it is that like sometimes really helpful, and you can like line that up so it lines up with like a task you're doing. It makes things go all the much faster.
I looked at the thing downstairs, and the title name goes through. So I think they're still playing Hatsune Miku.
That's weird. Are these dead?
Probably.
Okay, well you plug them back on the Switch so they can start charging.
In-depth. Eric said in-depth topic on brain bait.
I was explaining essentially like how like getting to talk about like whatever my like special interest at the time is, literally is like being on crack.
Yeah.
Like it gets I was saying more the fact that like whenever like you're busy doing something and you're like, okay, just talk about something. I'm like, okay, let me just dig through my brain a little bit, find a thing. I was talking about how like we went to the car wash and you're just like brought up a random like we're just playing the Hazbin Hotel soundtrack and I'm like, here, let me tell you about these little factoids I found out today. I'm so frustrated they nerfed the unicorn. That sucks. It almost defeats the purpose of having it then because its ability isn't nearly as useful then. Like, the deer, I think, ultimately are stronger when fully charged. That's so dumb. I'm still gonna train the unicorn up, but I'm just
Quagsire in the back.
boom. Quagsire in the back.
What I'm about to do while Evie's doing this is I'll move your camera. I'm going to... I have this really nice, really fancy jewelry container, and then when I dump my jewelry, I just take it off and put it in this bin. So now it's like a super... just like long. I will go ahead and mute this mic though so you can still hear Evie talking.
I mean, if you want to contribute anything to the
What the
conversation...
heck is with this freaking... Look, I'm Alfalfa, you know, from Little Rascals?
Does anyone even know that reference anymore?
That's me right now.
We know these things because our dad likes to watch old stuff, and so he, it's not like a
Just
choice. We
freaking-
kind of just have to know it.
Oh my god.
Did you have anything to contribute to our brain conversation, Melanie? Any particular topics that you're interested in?
I was gonna say, like, my longtime stuff would be, like, Freddy Fazbear. But, see, for me, my question is, where does it go from a special interest to just something you are interested in? Because I don't think I'm hyper-fixated on Five Nights at Freddy's. I think it's just something I enjoy.
It's not necessarily...
I think a while ago I was, but now it's
Yeah.
just something I enjoy.
It's not something exclusive, and also you kind of missed that part of the conversation, but special interests aren't necessarily something that, like, is always gone or always on. Like, you can have something, be really into it, then, like, break off of it, and then, like, not touch it for a while, and then all of a sudden the thing gets an update, and you're like, oh, I'm so into it again. You know, like, it's something that can come and go, and it's not necessarily something that, like, it's not necessarily something that's, like, you can really love something and it not be a special interest, or you can be super into something and it not be a special interest. It's more a matter of, like, again, kind of like almost, the best I can describe it is just like a compulsion. It's just sudden, for me, and again, I can only speak about my own experiences.
I do like alfalfa. She said, Ote alfalfa. From the Little Rascals show.
Very nice.
Eric said he can't relate. He had fixates on things until they consume me or I burn out. I am much more on that side. Evie, I feel like you ebb and flow. Like you healthily enter something, you're pretty obsessed with it for a while, and then you healthily like exit something. Versus me, I feel like I'm more you know, it's like a heartbeat.
I think that's also the difference.
It's like a heartbeat thing. Evie's is like a bell curve.
Mine's a biorhythm.
Yeah, Evie's is like this. Mine's like.
Do I have my Fire Emblem fans in the chat that know what biorhythm is?
Where it's my wife will get upset if she sees you touching up on my chest, and she goes, I am your wife. Then his heartbeat's like, that's me. Please, oh my god, don't look at my hair. But it's too hot for me right now because I just went up the stairs to wear my freaking sweatshirt. I'm gonna turn the fan on.
Are you hot again?
Yes, I'm hot.
Your cold streak is over?
Having hot flashes.
Which is, again, you were cold earlier, so... Like, it was a sauna in our car because just Malin was just really cold. She never is. So we never have the heat on in the car. I think the way that we're describing this, it really just kind of goes to show the difference between, like, you know, again, and every like person who has these things is different. So I'm not like, you know, the end all be all on it. But
Here's
it's like,
my
I think it just shows
hyperfixation.
the difference between
This
like
one. That's
I
Danganronpa.
am someone with. Will you? These are gonna. Come on. The purple one's just not responding.
Demon Slayer. Water Bottle Tour. Monokuma.
It's right there.
Inosuke.
And these are not out of batteries. They've been on the charger for like the whole
Cat
week.
with no money. Strawberry Milk. I'm a big Strawberry Milk
This
fan
is what
right
drove
now.
me so crazy when I was playing
Arbok. Pokemon. This is one that's hold up the Sailor Moon. I've never watched it, but I wanted to. I just thought the sticker's really cute. Another Demon Slayer. Little sushi. A water inside a water bottle. Cute water bottle on a water bottle. Hello Kitty. Hello Kitty. Can't see this one because it's small. Demon Slayer. That's my favorite one right there. Miss Hashira. And then little hamsters. Water bottle tour. I brought up your new Joy-Cons. Do you want to see how dead they are?
See, it's just not right. These are at full battery, mind you. These are.
What's this one at right now?
It doesn't say anything. It's just registering that as my side controller.
Well, see if these work.
Again, these purple and orange ones I have on right now are at full battery. They just, for some reason, just decide they are not. Well, here, plug these in. They just, for some reason, decide at random times that they are not attached.
It's whatever you.
That just bothers me so much. And yeah, now it registers at two different. Jeez. Now it's registering as two different players.
Girl, whatever.
Come on. But again, I don't know why it does it. It's not even a drift thing. It's just like for some reason the purple one will just suddenly decide it doesn't know where the switch is. Come on. Okay, now you can't find where the switch is. Now we got confused because one of them paired and the other one didn't. Come on. I know you're there. I mean, if this doesn't work, we'll just go get the you know, the wireless controllers we got.
Okay. Do you want me to do that? I'll get up again.
Yeah,
I'll do it for you.
Is the pro one there the one that takes the this thing? Because even if it doesn't have battery, we're next to Olivia's bed.
Yeah. Let me go look.
Okay, it's responding for the moment. Gosh, that's frustrating. I don't know why that one purple controller, it doesn't even like drift. It just sometimes I'll be, and I've tested this out before. Sometimes I'll be standing right next to like the actual switch in. This is frustrating. It's the same one too. It's a different controller. For some reason, my OLED Switch does not register that it's here. Different Joy-Con, but my Switch just does not register that this controller is here. For some reason. That's just... And it's, again, my other ones are completely charged. They've been on the charger for a while. They have no reason to not be working right now. Oh gosh, it's just annoying. And it wasn't even my turn anyway, I could just let him play. Anyway, so essentially, like, I think that that's, like, I'm not the, you know, the knowledge on it, but, like, I essentially think that's the difference between, like, me who has, like, ASD and then, like, Mallory has, like, ADHD, is that...
Autism.
Autism spectrum disorder.
Shout out to your tism. Evie likes trains because she's autistic.
Can you... On the cord over there?
No. That's literally the only place I can't get to. I love technical.
Yeah.
I love hip-hop. Do you guys know that? I'm so excited. I love hip-hop. Bebo. That's my girl Bebo. I'm so happy. I love hip-hop.
But I think that's, like, the difference is that, like, you know, for, someone who's, has ADHD instead might have more of that very, like, you said, like, more jerky way of, like, going in and out of interests. Mine's the more biorhythm way, where I'm just kind of going in and out. My thing is, though, like, the bigger thing is, like, if I don't have a special interest in the moment, like, if I've exhausted one and I'm waiting for the next new thing, it will drive me mad. Like, I'll be so stir-crazy and lifeless at the same time. Melanie just dropped some jewelry. Like, on one hand, I'll have, like, no, like, motivation to do anything. I'll probably just sit around and be depressed. But, I mean...
Not a good measure.
Well, no, my point being is that, like, that I don't have something to do, I'll both be stir crazy from the fact that I feel I need to be doing something, but I'm not, because I don't have anything that's interesting me at the moment. But I'll also be just, like, depressed because I won't, like, know what to do. So, like, having something like, having a sort of special interest that I can kind of focus on, in the sidelines at least, to my normal daily tasks really helps, but when I, like, don't have those moments where I'm, like, waiting for something new to drop or something else to grab my attention, it's just the worst. It really is. So, like, that's why I'm kind of, like, you know, glad whenever, like, a new TV show or something drops. Honestly, and the funny thing is you never know what exactly is going to catch your eye either. Like, there's, like, just no way to predict it sometimes. Like, did I think for 1 second that after I watched a random lore video on YouTube from a series I normally watch, like, like, you know, just a channel that I, like, that did, like, you know, the history of, or the story of in 30 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever, you know, you've seen those videos. I found a video for that on, like, the storyline of Detroit Become Human, and I'm like, oh, that's right, that's that game that I remember I was going to watch someone do a playthrough of a while ago, and I never did it. And I randomly went and, like, watched it, and then me and Melon ended up watching it like a movie for 4 days. And, like, that, my brain just decided, yep, that's gonna be your special interest now. And I'm like, alright, cool, I'm sure, why not? To be fair, also, though, that game also speaks to me in the way that, like, Resident Evil 8 does, where I'm just like, wow, the literary analysis I could be doing right now. Like, I literally brought Resident Evil 8, and we'll play it at some point, purely for the fact of so I could go and be like, hey, let me talk about all the gothic fiction they're referencing in this game. Because it's a lot. It's more than probably most people realize. And, like, it's not just the first area, just to say. Like, the first area, clearly a gender-bent version of Dracula. Like, you know, it's a good one. Dracula's also a very good book. If you're, like, if you have any sort of, like, a lot of the gothic literature, like, it does, you know, it follows its own tropes, but, like, a lot of gothic literature, very fascinating to read. I'm also someone who enjoys reading Shakespeare, though, so, and that's definitely, you know, beyond a lot of people's, like, thing. For me, I don't know. It's, you know, you never know what's going to be a thing. Like, I don't really like horror, but I really enjoy reading Stephen King, you know? Like, yeah, I'm not particularly into, like, any sort of, like, plays or poetry and stuff like that, but I find, you know, Shakespeare enjoyable. I think it's because it's both of those writers have a certain code how they write. So once you kind of like deciphering that is its own kind of puzzle and reward in a way. So, cause I remember I was looking at, like, Classes for Liberty, and they're, like, studying different eras of literature, and they're like, British literature, and I'm like, I could not care less about British literature, I'll be honest. Like, or even American literature. American literature is not fun. I don't think it is, at least. Some people love it. I don't. I don't care for American literature. But, like, I don't know what it is. I like Gothic. I really liked it when I had it, and I really enjoy Shakespeare, so there's a class about, like, Shakespeare's work. I'm like, I would love to do that. They're very, because it's all about, like, wordplay and deeper meanings and themes. They kind of require you to have a certain, like, brain on. Like, it's almost like a hidden language you have to know. It's kind of like the same way I feel whenever I'm trying to explain, like, competitive Pokemon to someone. It's like, everyone understands the basics of Pokemon. Even if you played Pokemon, you understand the basics of Pokemon. But understanding the competitive language of Pokemon, that's a whole other thing. And I got out of that scene during, like, you know, gosh, what was Oraz? Gen 6, maybe? Like a decade ago? Yeah, I'm not totally up to date with the scene, but I watch enough videos that I know essentially the basics of how things going. And, I mean, I would, even if I wasn't out of it, I would have gotten out of the competitive scene with Gen 8 because of how much they kind of... Pokemon's not quite what it should be. I mean, we had Legends Arceus, which was definitely one of the best, that, like, mainline-ish games in a while, but it's still, like... I'm excited for the next round of Pokemon games, because we have a new Legends game on the way. Me and Madeline are both very excited for that. Like, I was in her room at the time and said, Madeline, you gotta sit down and watch this. You need to see this. We got some interesting stuff here. And it's not even like, I'm like, so many things nowadays where you have to be like, I'm cautiously optimistic. Man, when's the last time you could actually be optimistic about something? That's why when you see something that you, like, just go and be like, hey, I'm just straight up excited. That was actually me with Fire Emblem Engage. everyone else was like cautiously optimistic with that game, I looked at that game and like, man, I love the color and art style of this. You know, I will admit I did have some cautious optimism, obviously, but to be entirely honest, I was actually the game that most people actually now laud as the better game, but at the time people were much more edgy about was Fire Emblem Three Houses, and I remember seeing the trailers for that and being like, I'm so excited for this. And I still love Fire Emblem Three Houses, but I also do have my fair share of gripes with it. Really just with the way the game is set up. It's Fire Emblem meets Persona, pretty much, which is fine if you're looking for that. It's not fine when you find other people online going to be like, man, why aren't the other games like this? I'm like, because Fire Emblem never was that. It's a war simulator game with, you know, really intriguing characters that you want to grow and know more about. Like, it's... People are like, when is this story going to be better? I'm like, it's stories like Legend of Zelda level sometimes, where it's just like, I don't know, I've never played a Legend of Zelda game. I tried Ocarina of Time once. I got so freaking frustrated in the trainee dungeon, not even the first dungeon, like the one you have to do to leave the village. I was so angry with the fact that I couldn't jump. And it's like, I kept dying for stupid reasons. I'm like, you know what? Maybe Legend of Zelda is for me, but this one is definitely not. This particular Legend of Zelda is not for me. Because I had a friend who insisted that Ocarina of Time was so good, and I'm like, I can respect Legend of Zelda from a distance, but the only ones I will try and play Twilight Princess at some point, because that one I do genuinely think is a cool looking game, and I must play Breath of the Wild at least once, because everyone tells me it's such a good game. I don't know if I'm gonna like it. We'll see. That will be probably a stream game, because if I play a game on stream, I can kind of like also keep myself into it. But that's a game that I'm like, I'm also, Mallie and I have talked about this at length, but I'm also someone who doesn't know quite how to feel about open world games, because I've not seen a lot of them that are what I would say are well built. Like, having endless possibility for, again, someone like me who has a very goal-oriented brain, unless I have a storyline that's kind of pushing me to do something, like, I don't like open endings. I don't like not being directed. It's not that I don't like how to explore, because for instance, I love Monster Hunter Stories. I loved Legends of Arceus, which are also very freeform games. I love the heck out of Sonic Frontiers. We are definitely playing that one to stream at this point, because Malin hasn't played it. I told her she needs to play that one at some point. It's a good one. But like, I'm not against exploration. I guess it's more the matter of the fact that like, completely open with the option of going into the wrong areas, that can frustrate me. And honestly, that even frustrates me with RPGs, especially like ones that have like, you know, wild encounters. Going the wrong area and then just completely getting wrecked because you're in too small of an area. Like, what I need in order to like such games is a good narrative reason as to why I'm exploring. It doesn't need to be huge. Again, it's Sonic Frontiers, Legends Arceus. These are not heavy-hitting story games. But I need enough to make me curious and make me think. And that's the one thing the reason I haven't played Breath of the Wild up to this point is, one, people told me that it will definitely suck in your life, and I get obsessive enough with games as it is. But also because people said the one thing that it was lacking in was story, and that is a little concerning. That's the only reason I actually want to play Twilight Princess, is because like I watched some trailers, I read a strategy guide, because you know, again, with my way of things, like sometimes I just read strategy guides, because I'm weird like that. But like, that was one where I'm like, this seems like it has an interesting story. Apparently that's not a normal thing for Legend of Zelda franchise. But I don't know a whole lot about that franchise. Same thing with like Final Fantasy. The reason I never got into Final Fantasy is honestly it's because of its sort of grunge aesthetic. And again, this is something that we also will talk about eventually. We'll play Detroit Become Human purely so I can talk about all the things the game makes me think of. But like, the one thing I liked about that game was telling Madeline about how like, again, I hope everyone's keeping up in the chat from at home. We should start a bingo chart to see how many topics I can cover in like an hour worth of sitting. But definitely my favorite, yeah. I will definitely, we own it.
I think Elliot also likes the game. I don't remember if that's his favorite game or if
I bought it for him, actually.
What's the one that's the one that's got like the really good graphics from the GameCube?
Wind Waker? Wind Waker.
I think he also really enjoys Wind Waker. Patrick, actually, funnily enough, really loves, what's the open world one again? Breath of the Wild. He loves that, but they played it on Wii U, which is such an interesting choice because I'm like,
Yeah,
that's
it's like Persona 5 being on the
yeah, it's like that's such a
PS3. You're
big
like, oh.
game to play on such an old console, and that's their newest console. They have an emulator, but they like their newest console is the Wii
I've been
U.
trying to convince
I'm like,
Patrick's dad.
that's a heavy game. They're
I've been
thinking
trying
about
to
like, we'll get a
convince
Switch
Patrick's
soon.
dad to get him a Switch.
Yeah, I was like, well, you might as well wait for the Switch 2 to come out of this, right?
People have been waiting for the Switch 2 to come out for the last 4 years. Guys, I don't think it's happening just yet. We can keep hoping it is, but I'm like, there's really no indication that it is yet.
This is me selling.
Because every time that we've been and said, oh, Switch 2, I'm like, then it was the Switch upgraded, which is what Mally then had. Then it was the Switch OLED. I'm like,
that's what Eevee has.
so I'm like, Switch 2 will come when it's coming. I'm not holding off with the hope that, like, oh, well, I won't upgrade because I'm waiting for the Switch 2. I'm like, you know the reason I held off on getting the OLED? Because it looks the same as my Switch. The reason I got the OLED was because, again, I got the special edition with Scarlet and Violet so that I could, at a glance, tell it apart from my regular Switch. It was never about, like, the better hardware.
These
It was just
banana
like,
charms. Sorry to break
Go
your.
ahead. Go for it.
I'm also trying to figure. I'm wearing headphones. So I'm trying to figure out the sound canceling properties, and I can't figure it out. These little charms are. I got them from Gachapon in Japan, and I made them in jewelry. So I've got 2 moray banana eels and 1 whale shark. I was trying to get the blue whale, but I didn't end up getting it.
I'm definitely not using the unicorn against the final boss because it frustrates me so much. So the unicorn originally used to put a shield across everything in the front row. Now it only shields the things next to it. That is so freaking lame. It used to be such a cool unit because it shielded the entire front row. And now you see it only shields the things right next to it. And gosh, that frustrates me. Again, things that happen just because I've played this game before. I played this game to death. Not like in perfect example. I don't have a special interest focus on this game, but I still do very much enjoy it. I still love the strategy elements of it. I still like the stack 3 elements of it. Not a special interest about. I'm not going to talk your ear off about my magic. I will say my opinions on it. I have some strong opinions on it, but I'm like, it's not something I'm going to go and be like, I feel more satisfied.
These are Kool-Aid earrings I made myself for sale.
The
One
first time
cookie.
I played Might and Magic, way back when, I did special interest with it. I was a thing that I like was so focused on for like weeks and months, and I was naming my Pokemon off of it, and I was doing characters off of it. Like, first time, yes, very much, it did fall into that category. Now I'm just like, I just play it for fun. But it's not sort of like regimented focused, where I like know all the stats and stuff like that. I'm like, I know them because I'm used to it, but like, you know, it's not something that I feel super focused on. Gosh, where did I start this train of thought? I don't even know. There was probably a point in here somewhere. Who knows? But yeah. Gosh, I think I was talking about Resident Evil 8 in Gothic. Yeah, well, that's why I started. So I was drawing the comparison that Detroit Become Human interests me in the same way Resident Evil 8 does in terms of like the literary analysis of it. Because again, tapping into what I know about literary stuff, I had to do a class on utopias and dystopias, which I thought was a really interesting topic. Long story short, it was half the professor I had who was teaching I never quite got on the same page with. So for a long time, I thought I was getting low scores because I wasn't, like, I was doing something wrong. Right now, I'm gonna have to buy another deer again. I hate when I bring in new units and they put them right in the way of things that are charging. It's only annoying to just lose units to these guys who are like...
Is there, like, a way you can move them, or, like...
Not when it's the end of my turn. Like, that's my point. Is I brought in reinforcements and they happened to put deer right in the way of that guy, and I'm like, of course they would, because it's random, so... That's why sometimes I don't, like, use my last turn in order to, like, pull in new units. Because that stuff will happen. I mean, I'm gonna buy more before I face the thing. I'm really just trying to level my unicorns. Stupid unicorns. I want to try and get to level 4 before I go and face the boss. But, anyway, so, the point being is that, so I had a class about dystopias and utopias. Plot twist, there are no books about utopias. There are none. They're all dystopias. It should have just been called dystopias. But, you know, which of them sounds better on core syllabus? Whatever. It was also just the fact that, like, again, not about the professor. She's very nice. I like her a lot. I think we were on the wrong page, because I thought she wanted a certain thing from me, and she said she was very strict about page length. So I always drew back on my points. Like, I would be like, I take a certain amount of time to build up and do my points. And, like, you know, that's what I do. But, like, hers was like, oh, well, exactly this many pages, exactly this much word count. And so I was worried that she was going to be really strict about that because she said she'd be really strict about that. So I did that, and I always pulled up on my points, which essentially meant I didn't, like, push them as far as I could. But then for, like, our final paper, I was like, okay, I can't pare this down anymore. You know what? It's the final paper. Screw it all. I'm just going to write until I do it. I don't care if I miss the page count. I'll get docked, whatever. And so I did. And then I turned it in, and that was the highest grade I got the whole semester. And she told me afterwards, like, wow, I feel like you're really coming into your writing now. I'm just like, I felt you actually finally were getting some really good depth there. And I'm just like, this is what you've been wanting from me the whole semester? I could have been doing this the whole semester. I was holding myself back the whole semester because I thought that you were really specific about the page counts. And turns out you weren't. Turns out that actually you wanted my true writing the entire time. So at the end of the day, page counts really don't matter. If you are a good writer, you can tell a point in a few or as many pages you need to do. A good English professor will tell you, you know, minimum of 3 pages, but take as long as you need to explain it. But explain it well, defend it well. You know, just like, but take as much time as you need. That's why writing standard tests, like timed writing tests, they're not a show of skill. They're telling you how quickly can you put crap on a page. It's not really.
And guess who's good at timed writing? Hey.
Malin is good at
Alfalfa here is good at timed writing. Hey, guess who's good at freaking.
That's why we worked well together, is because Malin would invite me over and be like, hey, I just puked out this paper. Can you make it sound coherent?
Yeah, it's like.
And I'm very good at editing, so I could do that for her.
Guess whose reading comprehension score is -1, but could get 100% on the freaking timed writing, because it's not how well you write, it's how well can you fit the specifications they're asking for. And since I'm not like a writer, you be the ghostwriter. No, really.
I actually.
Well, here's the thing.
Would like
rough
to do
draft
that.
is my final draft. That's how that goes. The rough draft is the final draft. But for like the process they always wanted you to do was rough draft, revise draft, blah blah blah. We had a very strict middle school English teacher, and I think that formed a lot of
We
our
did bring her
writing
up earlier in this chat already. You've been playing along at home.
Only Evie and I had her. My other siblings didn't because they went to a different school. But so like our writing was very, very strict. We were doing like really in-depth research, like 50-page research papers.
2 research papers a year. I didn't get that much in any college class.
Yeah, like we were doing crazy, and that's was on the 8-class schedule. Kind of like, you know how you have the block scheduling with just 4, or the 8-class one, like the year-long one. So we had that one instead. So we'd have literature, language arts, 2 separate classes, and then our homeroom, which was with the same teacher. So we'd have her for 3 times a day versus other teachers we'd have like 1. So we had a lot of English in there. And a lot of it would be like that, like revised drafts, whatever.
And we did so much diagramming. Diagramming is an essential part.
That's why Latin was so easy for me to learn, because you're literally breaking down English, and we already had to do that for
Diagramming is an essential skill, but gosh, we did so much diagramming.
That's what Meredith said. Once I figured out how to write based on teacher preference, I never focused on anything else. Unless it was a topic I was passionate about, I did the same thing. I'm like,
see,
I know what you want to hear, and even though I want to tell my point, it's easier for me to tell your point.
The worst, that's actually probably the reason I found the writing degree in English classes so freeing, because it isn't that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, you still do have to keep in mind that some professors are going to grade differently, but at that point it is literally, okay, you have a point? Cool. Gosh, sometimes I want to go just up to Dr. Newhouse and just tell him how much he like changed my perspective on writing.
Mm-hmm.
He just grew it so much. But I love the fact that like what he said is like you always go in. I remember he would say we go and do a point, and he'd bring up points and themes and potential stuff and things we're reading. He's like, and that could be something interesting, or it could not. You know, like he didn't care what you were trying to sell. It just, could you defend it? Could you make him to believe that what you're saying is like you could go and write whatever it was that you wanted, and however many or few pages. It just mattered that, do you defend it well? Do you cite it well? Do you have enough evidence to back up what you're trying to say?
I couldn't look at my hair.
And that's really what writing is about, especially, at least from my perspective, when writing essays. Like, can you go back? And that's why I do genuinely like. I'm like, I wish I was like a beta reader anonymous or something like that, because I feel like I'd be good at that.
You can. There's Discords for that.
Yeah,
Because I had the opposite experience in college. She went to obviously a different one than I did, and she even went to private school and I went to public school.
Also,
and
I just think state hates me in general.
Well, state is a STEM school, so it is not a humanities versus EV. You could get a more specialized program in a private school that offered more arts support.
I mean,
versus,
in the fact that, like, you know, in terms of, like, also my job experiences with it.
Yeah, state did not, was not big on humanities and art support. And at the time, I was in a STEM field taking an English class, like the intro to English. And I remember, the thing I remember most about that class is the fact that my professor looked like Brendan Urie. Real facts.
Yeah, that's funny.
That's the thing I remember most about it. And then he would have, like, that long in the, because he had the same haircut of Brendan Urie in the, I think, Death of the Bachelor album, where he had, like, the long puff on the top and the shaved sides. I remember he looked better when he let the sides grow out a little bit, but then he let it grow out too much, and then he would shave them way too far down. He should have just shaved them a little bit and gone in more regularly, because he shaved it too far and it looked really bad. But I got a B in that class because it was, like, focused on, like, writing papers or something, and I was like, there's no way that I got, like, a bazillion million % on all of my papers in high school, and then come here and I get a B in intro to, like, I think it was like intro to writing papers, or it was not a literature course.
You know,
it was
also,
a writing course.
You know, you can also tell you a lot is how they grade you. Mm-hmm. Because there are some petty again.
Ooh, you're angry at someone?
No, it's the
this
same.
Sounds like a very specific example coming up.
No, it's the one I use every time about state in the one lab I took there. Because it was online. I had to do online.
And I have to say, I had great teachers. When I finally changed into a humanities course at state, the English class I took was it was a gen ed.
Gen ed sucked.
I was a STEM student. I was a food science major in intro English, which was like the one class you had to take in your. What's the name? And you had to take. That's like the one class you had to take in your, in humanities. And when I changed to a humanities course and I had communication professors, then I had a great time. I feel like I learned a lot. I feel like I could cheese the system way easier versus like I actually had to work really hard when I was in STEM. But that's because English and all that stuff comes easier to me because of our teacher in middle school who was really, really hard, like spelling, sentence structure. At one point I was an English tutor for a Korean
It was torture for 3 years, but then we're so good at it afterwards.
Engineering PhD student, I would read his papers. I don't know what the
I read some of his papers too because you asked me to.
Yeah, so I was like, I don't freaking know if this is good or not. His English was fine. I changed like 2 articles. I remember being in the library at like midnight reading nuclear engineering papers, and this guy was super nice. He was my good friend because he would go and be like, I'm gonna go get you some tea from the the bookstore. Do you want anything else? Thanks for reading my nuclear engineering paper. Oh, no worries. I have no idea what it's saying.
I mean, yeah.
What's my accreditation? I speak English, so
yeah.
it's my first language. Versus it's probably like your 10th
Though
language.
I mean, to be honest, though, let's be honest. I feel bad for anyone who has to learn English as a second language.
Hey, English
because
is a
the
dumb
English,
language.
every other language it seems follows its rules. English language is like North Carolina drivers. Like, there's a recommendation, but no one's gonna follow it.
Let's be honest. Thoughts from the court. Is the speed limit the limit you stop at or the limit you start at? Because in my opinion, when you're driving from Fuquay Varina to Cary, North Carolina, the speed limit is where you start and you go up from there. If you are stopping, hey, if it's a 45 and you're going 43, are you 8,000 years old on your deathbed driving to the funeral home with nowhere to be? Because the rest of us are trying to get to work and you're driving really slow.
Malin also likes driving fast.
I hate driving to work. I think I also liked my job last year when I carpooled to work, and it took like 900% of my stress away. Driving is my least favorite part of the day.
That's why I just
unrelated. I don't know what. Oh, you said. Yeah, you said this stuff.
Yeah, I was making a comparison.
Unrelated.
It was a good metaphor.
What was the comparison? North Carolina drivers as to what? Oh, English. I was thinking
English. Trying to learn the English language, like the rules of the English language, is like North Carolina drivers. It's like there are rules. No one follows them.
I think about that when I'm teaching my class and we're on S. We were not this week. We were on T this week, but last week we were on S week, and we're like, okay, it's time for center time. They're like, oh, centers. We're like, actually, that's C. That's the letter C.
We understand that's
from
confusing.
The third week of school. Sorry to flip it up on you now, guys. Whoopsies. Because it's like, English is such a weird bozo language.
Well, it has rules,
well,
but it
here's
doesn't
the thing.
follow them.
It's like, it's easier to learn other, like, I was trying to learn a little bit of Japanese when I went to Japan, ops. So then, it's easier to jump from, like, I guess the different forms of Chinese to Japanese to Korean. It's easier to jump around because of the language structure, I guess. Versus, like, English, it's really hard to jump. English is, like, one of the few languages that our language is structured in the way it is, with, like, subject, object, verb, or whatever. Subject, verb, object. Like, the verbs normally, in most other languages I've tried learning, the verb comes at the end of the sentence. Versus in English, the verb comes right after the subject. From the words of the cop I had to take a traffic class with, 5, you're fine, 9, you're mine, and we're guys getting a speeding ticket. As I said, 5 is the safety zone. I go 5 to 7 typically over, because I'm like, that I feel like is a safe area. But like you said, 5 you're fine, 9 you're mine. And I was like, 5 to 7 is typically where I like to tap out. And on those back roads, hey man, if the speed limit is 45, you have to be doing 45 minimum. You gotta step it up. You gotta do 47. Come on, you gotta give it to me. It's the people on the road where the speed limit's 45 and we're hitting 30. Buddy, I gotta be to work in half an hour. And this drive is half an hour. I'm gonna need you to pick up the pace, buddy boy. I only get upset when it's from the hours of 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. when people are trying to get to work. And somebody's like, I'm going to brunch. It's Tuesday morning, I'm putting my way down the food line to get senior discount day. I'm like, it's 8:15 and I need to be at my job by 8:45. Please exceed 20 miles an hour on the 1-lane back roads. There's only 2 ways to get to my job, and both of them are clogged on these 1-lane roads. Ugh, what a nightmare. Don't get me started on driving. But anyways, back to the English thing. I remember seeing that because I was like, when I was learning Japanese, it was reminding me a little bit, mind you, only super basic intro stuff. I do not know the language in any regard. However, I did take 3 levels of Latin, so I did know a good amount of that. Now I can translate Harry Potter. Yeah, 4 years ago I took it, so I can do. You still got a lot of it, though. Yes, like I can do very minimal stuff now. But when I was learning Latin, it was pretty easy because it's like, because of they gender the words, so you have masculine, feminine, or see, I already got the next one neutral. I'm pretty sure the next one neuter. So then it's makes sense. The sentence order can be all crazy out of order. It doesn't matter because the descriptor words would attach on to the subject/object, and then the verb is always at the end, and then the verb's declension matched the declension of the word. So you're like, that makes so much sense. And it's like the way they would talk, it's like you had, and it was like, somebody said that to me about Japanese, again, I don't know if it's true or not, but it's like they put the verb at the end to make sure you listen all the way through the sentence. So you, like, in English, especially, I'm pretty sure American English, but I think probably the same for other Englishes, but I definitely know for, like, the American dialect of English. It's like the verb is at the front because you want to know it's happening faster. It's like you're more impatient to learn what's happening faster. So the verb is at the front, so you don't necessarily need to listen to the end of the sentence. Versus, in a lot of other languages, especially Latin or Japanese, you have the verb at the end, so you do have to listen all the way through to get the full context of the sentence. Because the verb relates to the subject, but it's not until the end. Very rarely do you get a verb in the middle or at the beginning. Well, that's also... I really enjoyed learning Latin. I also wonder if other languages have the same complex sentence structure that English can have, because English sentences can get very complex. Well, other sentences can... I mean, when I was in Latin, it was like a whole paragraph was one sentence, no commas. I mean, well... I was like, hey girl, let's take a breather here. Well, there's also a reason why Latin is not a spoken language anymore. Let's also clarify that one. Because of the complex... How do people ever talk like... The complexity of trying to decline words while you're talking... Ooh, dog, that's crazy. Well, I mean, when you don't have other options, it probably didn't seem that crazy at the time. Mm-hmm. But I was also seeing, after, like, seeing things online, especially on TikTok, and seeing people like, oh, man, I can't believe I failed Japanese, you know, or, like, my friends who live in Japan, were like, oh, I can't believe in Japanese class, like, they got such a low score. I was like, used to go to Japanese class. We were talking about this with Miku. I was like, oh, she's in Japanese class. I'm like, yeah, that seems weird until I remember, like, we have English class. And we don't even have English. We have, like, 6 different levels of English. This is also interesting that English is then separated into literature and language arts. Like, English isn't
Language arts just drops off at some point. Like, a lot of people... That's why a lot of people aren't good at grammar. It just sort of drops off after a point.
You know what's crazy? I never did... So, in high school, I didn't take AP classes because at the time, our parents weren't open to us taking APs. They were more open to it with my younger siblings, but at the time they were open to it.
We also weren't that interested in doing it either.
I was interested because my friends were into it, but our parents were not into it at the time, which is fine. It's, you know, it's their choice. We're their kids at the end of the day. And, so I did honors in English throughout high school, and I don't think we touched sentence diagramming until maybe the end of my junior year for like a month. And I'm like, I want you to know that in middle school, like every single day, we'd have like 12 sentences we'd have to diagram, like daily, as a warm-up. Like,
yeah,
that lady had to do some crazy stuff.
I've never taken a college class that was anywhere near as intense as what I had in middle school.
I'm like, I was good at it. In middle school, I was real good at that because that was stuff. I remember getting such terrible scores. If you had to know, like, linking verbs and helping verbs and how to make... If you don't know what we're talking about, look up diagramming sentences. You'll see, like, it's like a whole tree, and you have to know how the branches work. You need to put up... It's like when you do stoichiometry in chemistry. It reminds me a lot of that in the way that you have to set up, like, a certain table. Like stoichiometry, you have to do, like, the cross. I think that's why I was so good at stoichiometry in chemistry, because it reminded me of English diagramming in the way that the table's set up. Also, the fact that I took 85,000 levels of chemistry. Boo.
I literally won the level and my controllers have gone out.
No, I brought you the kitty controller. Those might just be dead.
Yeah, well, I was letting that charge, so I was trying
It's not enough charge for now.
I was trying to give it some time. It's this side controller just won't...
Well, because it's almost 10, so you probably won't be going much longer than this boss battle,
I know.
right?
Yeah, I'm pretty much done training.
It's okay. Use the kitty controller for a little bit.
We mean that in terms of this is a controller that looks like a cat.
Meow meow.
Looks like a little cat. It's for little kids, but it's actually pretty responsive.
Evie likes it because it makes her hands feel tiny. For me, it makes my hands feel gargantuanly large.
But I'm guessing I have to...
I'm still organizing my jewelry.
Guessing I have to find it first.
Should be on. Yeah, I actually did like diagramming English. I thought that was pretty fun.
Well, there's a certain, like,
Would I like to do it in a class again? No. Absolutely not. But in hindsight, you're like, oh yeah, that was, you know, fine. I hated doing it in class. And then we did so much literature work in regards to, like, we had poetry units. We had to do, like, creative writing units. Hey, you want to know? For any of you guys out there, any of my Middle Creek fans in the house tonight?
I think a handful of them are, yes.
Yeah. Mr. Matteau's English creative writing class. Stop pumping them jewelries out, boy. I got a couple. I'm showing them down here. I got a couple that I'm like... This one's really dirty, but it's like a little bear on a keychain. It's got a little star. Trying to clean it up so I can see what to make. That one I made some gummy bears. I would say like 40% of the jewelry I have in this pile I made. Maybe 35. Like, not a ton, but more than I thought. But in Mr. Matteau's creative writing class, he was apparently a notoriously hard grader. I don't remember, because I'm going to be so real. I didn't really try on a lot of my... Like, we had to do weekly poetry jams. Girl, I for real made those up 10 minutes before class started.
And you always actually, I remember telling me that you got good grades off of them.
I did. I think a lot of them were completion. Well, because I would just cheese it. I had one called Name. Oh, girl, so... If I were to read those, I'll have to find some and read them next time. They're hella cringe. Like, it's bad stuff. But also in high school, I was incredibly cringe.
Oh, is that the same as those
I'm not
piece
surprised
ones you found?
What?
Is that the same as those puzzle
Those
piece?
I have some puzzle piece ones from middle school, maybe. So funny because they're so bad. There's a reason I was bullied for a long time. And a lot of it is because I was a super loser. And I was
No, it's because the other people were super losers.
Yeah. If you wonder why I'm bullied, hey man. Bullies are the bullied. So, when you read my poetry, you'd be like, that makes sense. She should have gotten a swirly. Like, that makes sense. That's kind of how the poetry is when you read it.
people ever realistically do that?
I don't know. I've never been to swirlies.
It just feels like a lot of effort.
Yeah, I feel like it is to put somebody into because toilets are low down on the ground. But
Yeah,
in
I
Mr. Mato's class, I took one of my. We had to do Harris Burdick stories, and if you don't know what that is, it's like it's a series of black and white images that are like very ambiguous and like very abstract, and then there's a lot of people write stories attached to them that kind of like fulfill what might be happening in the image. You can look it up.
There's a
Harris
picture with a
Burdick.
singular sentence, and the guy said, here's the beginning of these stories. I'll come back and give you the rest later, and he never came back. So ultimate mystery.
Yeah, which is awesome. So our teacher, our English teacher, because we did so many like literature, language, arts things, we made these two. They're like little, I like the conductor ones from our D&D. The little, they're hard to see. They're little like clock hands.
We love me some clock hands.
They're black and white clock hands. But I turned in, so this Harris Burdick story, I think I wrote in 8th grade. And I'm pretty sure I turned that in either as a sophomore or as a junior in his creative writing class. And that's the only one, he did a 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the only one I got a 4 on. He very rarely gave out 4s. At least to me. And that's the only one I got a 4 on the whole semester, and I got a Spider-Man sticker. So that's how I knew that I was the best. Excuse me, I had a burp.
See, I was
These little
so...
bears I made also.
I'm so, like... I still am to a little degree, but I was always so insecure about my writing that I heard so much about him and I wanted to, like, try one of his classes, but I was so afraid I was going to get a bad grade that I didn't even bother trying to take the class.
That's so fair. Mr. Mariano used to let us do our project instead of writing papers. That's a good teacher. That's
Mr.
a good
Mariano
teacher who lets you...
Mr. Mariano
I
was the
don't
one
think I ever got him.
He's the one I told you about the other day with the match head.
Oh yeah, Evie said he's the one that chewed on match heads.
No, he
to
just
keep
gave us interesting things like how do you survive in the wild.
I don't think I ever had him. I
he
had
was good.
a girl. I don't remember her name. Elizabeth. What name? I had one of the ladies and her daughter was just in there. I had her for English 3. I don't remember anyone else. I had some teacher. Oh, I had like a Mrs. Smith or something. I had someone for English
It's always a
4
Mrs. Smith.
that we didn't do freaking anything in that class. Boy, we did nothing. Senior year English, we did like one research paper for your senior project, and then all I remember distinctly was sitting in the back on my phone while we watched Elf. That's all I remember from that class. I don't remember doing anything else because it was so easy. Because English 3 and 4 especially, all the people who were like really tryhards went to AP English. So even if you were in honors class, it was just like all the regular people. It wasn't anyone who was like willing to go super above and beyond. And let's be real, girl, in English class, if I didn't have to, I was not going above and beyond. Cause like honors English was just pretty much everyone who was like not an AP person. It wasn't like if you took honors English as a freshman or sophomore, I feel like it was like all the really smart people. But then honors English 3 and 4, it was like we're normal people. I remember having it with like the football players. So a lot of times we would just sit around and talk about the football games. It was very chill. We really didn't do much, and I like that. Because I think I had a 4th period too. So we just kind of like hung out and talked about football. We didn't really do much.
I remember I did have
it was a
a
good class.
math teacher that we all deliberately always try to get her off topic.
Yeah, Mary said he's crazy, get off topic.
Like if you brought pentatonics or something, we could get her to talk about that for like an hour.
Me as a teacher. That was me when I started teaching color guard. Yo, I would freaking rant. We'd never get any work done, and then the show would never be complete in time.
I still do that as I teach color guard now, but I don't really care.
Me as I love talking. I love hearing myself talk. As if it's not obvious.
Why should I care at this point? You know, I'm like,
Yeah,
you know what?
I
have a small guard. I am like kind of burnt out from teaching. You know, if we get through it, we get through it.
You can't see
you guys
results
look
in Gummy
like,
Bear.
You guys look like horrible out there. Like Mallion has like a reputation because she's like good at color guard.
Now that I've taught guards that are more
I'm
competitive,
like, I have no rep. I don't care if my
I
stuff
don't
sucks.
really like to teach anymore because then there's like this rep, and especially after I did some of the like bigger name world groups, there is like a stigma attached to you that you're going to be good, and I don't want to like discredit the groups I performed at just because I don't care about teaching anymore. Like I don't really care about teaching marching band anymore. That was my hyperfixation, bringing that all back around. Oh my god, the way I was hyperfixated on color guard, and that was a long one. That was for like 7 years, like 6 or like it was my whole life revolved around. I thought that would be my career forever. It like
And a very good
ruined
key-
my life.
And a very good key difference between hyperfixation and special interests is hyperfixation does not have a start and end date. Special interests tend to run their course. Hyperfixation can last for a long time.
No, that one was like an obsession. Like even if I want to get away from it, I couldn't. Versus now, I could easily not do that. But yeah, that was always a pain to. Because then people are like, "Well, did your guard win?" I'd be like, "No, they never win, bro," and that's okay. They're just literally trying their best. Like the fact that they broke a 50 out of 100, we were ecstatic for them. We were so hyped because that was like the highest score they'd ever gotten. Yeah, I remember a lot of high school. I just remember in high school, all my math teachers were. I had one good math teacher, and the rest of my math teachers, I'm pretty sure, were bad. I'm trying to remember. Because I had one guy named Mr. Griffin. He was a super cool math teacher, and then I had him for, I think, algebra 2, maybe? So I took pre-algebra in 8th grade, and then algebra 1 would have been maybe I had him for algebra. Wherever you learn logarithms. Did I take algebra 2? Girl, I don't freaking know about math.
I don't know if you did.
I took geometry, and no, you had to take algebra 2. I took geometry freshman year, and then I took algebra 1. And then I took AFM, which is Advanced Functions and Modeling. Nobody tells you that. That's literally pre-calculus. It's the same class as pre-calculus. When I took pre-calculus in college, it's the same class as Advanced Functions and Modeling. It's a scam. Don't take them both. But I remember that being like, oh my gosh, this teacher's so good. I can't wait to have him next year for math again. And then he went to go work for the county. He left the school. I was like, are you kidding me?
I remember. Oh, didn't you also get like the
Griffin
one?
Rock, did you
Didn't
feel
you get the one
yeah,
horrible?
Griffin, he was so cool. And then he was
You
like,
got the
fine,
one.
I'm gonna go work
You
for the
got
county.
the one horrible math teacher that you thought you did because she changed your
Yes.
last name.
Okay, so there was this awful math teacher named Miss Turner. And then she was the geometry professor. And everyone's like, geometry sucks. And Miss Turner also sucks. Don't get her. And I was like, oh, poof, I just dodged that bullet. I am Miss Beeman. And yeah, I'm putting their names on the internet. Who freaking cares, bro?
Well, they definitely don't remember you.
Yeah, who cares? I've been out of high school for almost 10 years. So, then they were like, I get there, and you know who it is? Miss Beeman was Miss Turner, but she just got divorced. So not only was it the bad math teacher, it was the bad math teacher who was now divorced. I was like,
Even
oh
better.
boy. And you know when I had her? My first semester of high school, 4th period. Girl, I was snoozing in that class. She always had the lights off. You remember projectors? Not like the things, like the transparent, what are those called? The transparencies?
Transparencies.
Was that on a projector?
Yep.
It was on like you click the light on and it had like the clear sheet of laminate, almost like a street projector. You put it on the projector, it would shine the light through the thing and it would reflect in this like mirror thing. I hope they don't use those anymore because I remember, snoozing. It was like a soft light. The worst kind of name change. Yes, no, literally, she was. I remember going to freshman night and then being like, oh, we don't know her. She must be new. Like, she's probably good. And then I literally walked in, they were like, no! And she was like, hi, I'm Miss Turner. And now I'm Miss Beeman. Boo, boo.
Man, I killed my dragon.
Sorry, Amy. Who remembers those transparencies? Because then the teacher had to, like, write on them backwards or something. But they never did. They wrote on it forwards and then you had to figure out what it said. It was a pain. Shout out to transparencies. Because unlike slides, you couldn't save them. They just like wiped them off when they were done. So if you didn't get the notes, like you're screwed. Bro, Google Slides all the way. Shout out to my man, Google Slides. Send me a PowerPoint any day. Will I study it? No. Will I look at it? Probably right for the test. Which is more than I would do if you have your notes on transparency. I just remember doing that, and I remember failing like 3 of the tests. I got a B in that class. I got 2 B's in high school. And they were in biology and geometry. 2 boo lame courses. Boo, boo. I had biology first period, and my teacher left like 2 months into the semester, and she's like, I'm pregnant, bye everybody.
Oh, that was the one that got pregnant, I remember that.
She was actually pretty good. She's like, deuces, I'm pregnant. And we were like, okay.
You know,
So then we had like different subs for like 2 weeks, and then we just had a sub the rest of the semester. Like, we never got another teacher. We just had a sub who didn't know, like, the course of biology. She's a sub. So, I didn't learn anything, and I got a B in class. I really want one of those projectors for no reason other than to doodle on the wall. LOL.
Fair.
That's so funny. I wonder if you could make one. You would need, like, the lamp. You'd need, like, the 2 mirrors.
I don't see why not.
I think you do need a curved glass thing, like a convex or concave lens. I don't know which one it is. Hey, shout out to high school, yo.
You know what's the only thing worse
So
than
not
like your
there
teacher
anymore.
not being there because they got pregnant?
It's the fact that it wasn't planned, so then we never got a freaking sub.
No, you
Sorry.
know, it's the only thing that's worse than that.
What?
When your teacher dies.
Oh my god! Didn't you have a teacher that died in high
I
school?
did. I think she had like.
Oh, I
she
thought
had
it was a guy.
No, she again almost the same story as Madeline, but like I literally got someone who like was very well beloved in my college, like
Oh, your college. I vaguely remember
Yeah.
this one.
and
think mine in high
so
school was like,
she
okay.
was again really just very much loved. I was excited to have her. I had never had her before because she did a lot of things, like she did a lot of English classes. I was finally getting her for advanced grammar, and I was excited because people told me so many good things about her. And she was really good. I really enjoyed her. I did really well on the test. I loved the study sessions. And so we even were like maybe a quarter of the way in, right? And then like she's out because of health reasons. I'm like, okay, cool. And so they're like, okay, that day off. Then we get the next day off. And like, oh, she's still in the hospital. Okay. We get till the end of the weekend. We're still off. Because she's still in the hospital. We come back. She's passed away.
Let's go!
And we learned this through an email, like late at night. So we suddenly don't have a grammar teacher.
Did you get like trauma
she-
counselors or?
Yeah, we got. I'll get there. So like, we have. Again, we're like a third way in, and I thought she was really cool. I was really excited to have her. She had a lot of. She was an older lady, but she had a lot of spunk. And like, again, everyone loved her, so I was looking forward to like getting to know her more. And it was just one of those things where like, I guess she'd had like some sort of cancer or something that just happened to like come back really bad.
Dang. That's literally Grayson. Like, I can hear her going "cowabummer" in the
Yeah.
background. I can literally
So
hear her saying
she-
"cowabummer,"
But
dude.
the worst part was that, and again, Peace also has a church attached, so there was a funeral there too.
That's
for
crazy.
her,
I'm
by
like,
the way.
how do you want me to respond? I don't know how. Whenever people tell me these like really heavy stories, I'm like, that's crazy. I'm like,
Yeah,
what do I
so
say?
The worst part is
Dang.
that it actually felt a bit like, gosh,
Trauma dumping.
I've been to too
late
many-
night streams.
I've
Everyone,
been to
everyone
too
trauma
many
dump.
funerals in the last several
No,
years.
literally.
But
I
the
was
worst
just thinking about
part
that earlier. I was like, when is this person that I
is
know
that you could
that died at
tell
a funeral?
the people in like the a lot of people around campus were like really depressed and really sad. Like we had like everyone had like a day off. Everyone had a day off because she died. And
Dang, Evie, this story kind of sucks.
but the thing is well, you're talking about like that's the only thing that's worse than getting than the unexpected pregnancy.
She said, unexpected pregnancy, let me make you sad. You want to talk about fun new life? Let me talk about fun new death. You want to hear this funny
It's the
story where my
worst.
teacher died?
No, well the thing is that so
Hey,
then
actually,
we're, like,
no, I don't. Trigger warning. Hey, man.
So it's like 2 weeks later, and we're all sitting there, be like, so do we still have a class? What's gonna happen? Because no one's told us. At this point, they're still like
Girl,
doing
no.
funeral services and stuff. There's still like mourning things, and there's like things in her honor around campus. But we're like, do we still have an advanced grammar class? So at this point, we have maybe less than half the semester left, like in terms of like numbers of days. And then they finally get us a not necessarily a teacher. It's actually like it's actually like I think it was gosh, what do they call them? The people who like sign you in when you're like signing up for college. They're like a certain kind of counselor.
An admissions director?
Admissions, yeah, it was the admissions lady. She came to teach it for us, and of course she's not a grammar instructor. So essentially, our final thing was like, hey, go make a website based off of grammar. Which kind of sucked because website design sucks.
Yeah,
Let's
like,
just
that's
put it
probably
out
because
there.
that's what she did as an admissions director.
But they didn't know what to do it, and they were essentially saying like, "We're gonna do this for his final grade. Just turn something in, and you'll all pass." Like there was no like, which I hated only because it's me, and I actually really like grammar, and so I was actually looking forward to learning something, and we literally all passed because they're like, well, what are we gonna do? You guys literally got like a month and a half of the teaching, and then we were off for like a month because
I'm
death.
telling you, based on we'll play Danganronpa
So
at
we just
some
all
point.
we all
this
played.
is so Nagito
We all
of you being
passed.
like,
We all passed.
when you're excited for something, it's always when it goes away. That's a crazy story. Please never tell it to me again, though. That made me really sad.
But it was just, I mean, it was just like the amount of random things that happened to me during my schooling days.
Girl, you
Like-
have the weirdest luck.
I really
You attract
do.
like the weirdest bad things. Not
I
like
was a-
crazy bad things, but just like the weirdest.
That's
bad
what I'm saying. If all else fails, I'm gonna write my autobiography because so many random things have happened in my life. Like the fact that I got like a concussion and you never did in all the years that you've done color guard, and I did for 2 years. And
That
I
is
managed to
crazy.
get a concussion, and then like 3 other people got concussion at
I've
the same
gotten
time.
2 facial
To
lacerations.
the point where they needed waiver forms.
No concussions.
Ugh.
I mean, I was on concussion watch. Because I did have a big old... But no concussions here, baby. I was talking to... Who was I talking to? I was talking to Patrick's mom. And she was like, oh yeah, one time I got a concussion because somebody roundhouse kicked me in the face. Whoa, girl. I'm surprised you still have all your teeth, my man.
Even roundhouse kick. That's not an easy kick.
I think they were playing, like, extreme dodgeball or something. And they just really went for it.
I think what my controls are in this. Okay. I'm gonna take
Oh.
you. And we're gonna take you. Boss monsters, let me tell you, because you have to. It's instead of a unit, it's just a boss that you have to hit over and over again. Never take champion units. Like there's one boss that you can do that with, but the rest of them they move around so fast. By the time your thing gets charged up, it's not even gonna hit it. Annoying.
Yeah.
Anyway, so sorry to be a downer on that, but I was just you just made me think of that when you say like, well, you know,
Hey
it was
guys, wanna hear a
unplanned
cool
for.
story? My teacher died. What in the autism is going on in here?
Unplanned pregnancy. But I'm like, oh, the only thing worse than that, unplanned funeral.
Dang you, that really...
And that wasn't even the only time I had a teacher just randomly leave. So, we had that one, and obviously we all passed just because they're like, well, we don't really know what to do at this point. So, I felt bad because I really was looking forward to that class, but like, I had another one who was our personal finance teacher. And she came in, and she was kind of okay and kind of cool, but like, you know, we were learning stuff. And there was the point where we came in and we all sat there and we waited for like 15 minutes.
What happened to her?
No, it's not a bad story in that. It's just a weird one. Like I said, all my stories are just weird. Like the weirdest things happen to me or happen around me. I'm just like, this has to be like just dumb luck or something. But so she you know, there's the whole rule that like, you know, if they're 15 minutes late, you're allowed to leave because at that point
I don't think that's a real rule.
it actually is. But like you are allowed to leave. So we sat there at 15 minutes late and then people just started leaving. People just started leaving the classroom. And I had a class immediately afterwards, so I just sat there. So I'm like, okay, unattended classroom, it's nice and quiet. I just sat there and drew for like an hour until my next class because it was right across the hall.
Because I feel too anxious that somebody would walk in on me and be like, what are you doing here? So I would leave.
Well, if I did, I'd be the only like person who stayed and everyone else left.
Evie's the kind of person like, excuse me, didn't we have homework this week? That's you.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Teacher, what about the homework? I would bully you for that.
Yeah, I definitely fall into that category every once in a while. But
Teacher senpai.
not that category. But so I'm sitting because I have the class question. So we come next week. It's like I think it was either once or twice a week class.
They were watching you on the like live camera the whole time and they knew you were there.
No, but so we do this next week. The teacher's there. Week after that, she's not there again. All right. Weird.
Are you supposed to be meeting every other week?
It was like because we had already met like pretty steadily before that.
Oh.
So it was just like okay,
She's hooking up with another professor in the bathroom.
Who knows? But
Oh dang, you don't even know the answer.
so we never did get an answer, honestly. So eventually
hate
we get to the
unsolved
point where like I'm showing up every week, but like you know she just stops coming and we don't get like a notification or anything.
That's like
she
my
just-
first therapist.
She just stops coming, and so some people just straight up stop coming to class because the teacher's not showing up.
Girl, after 2 weeks of that, I would not have shown up the rest of the semester. I'd be like,
well, that did a lot of damage. Great.
You better die.
Yeah, probably. This boss fight really depends on a bit of luck. Because this is the issue with boss fights, is that you have to
look, eh?
You have to keep firing off units. Eventually, you're gonna hope that you're gonna hit them because, like, they move around. So it's kind of a pain where you're just like, I hope my thing charges up in time to hit you. But we'll see. I think I will hit them with my fairies because he should move by the start of my next turn. But so we have this so like some people just straight up stop coming to class. And I still come in, because again, I have a class right across the hall. And I have to pass through this hallway to some of my classes. So I always poke my head in and be like, hey, is the teacher here? Nope, no teacher. Okay, carrying on with my day. And eventually, like, she does email, I think she emailed us or something. And, you know, like, does say, hey, I'm here. Sorry I had some stuff, but we're doing class again, so please come back to class. And so, we do that. And, like, she starts showing up again regularly, and then we go through the same song and dance again. She just randomly stops coming again. And eventually, like, someone, I think someone, like, because Peace is a small school, so so a lot of us do know, like,
someone
faculty,
snitched.
Well, the faculty does know people personally, so there was someone who eventually did tell the faculty, hey, we have a teacher who's not showing
well,
up.
You're paying for that class.
Exactly, you are paying for that class. And personal finance is like a gen ed that everyone needs. So they're always packed because you need them.
I would be so okay with them not showing up for personal finance. I hate that course. I would be like, okay.
I honestly didn't care as much either, because I was like, oh, alright.
No skin off my back, baby. But some nerd.
So
probably was
yeah,
like,
so we so someone does eventually say like, hey, we don't have it, and they're all maybe because some people are like, we are supposed to be having this. Is anyone going to show up at any point? This might be a problem. So what should we do? And so the thing is, the teacher never officially leaves. We don't ever really figure out what it is. So she shows us for like the last week of class and gives us a study guide. And she says, if you study this, you'll do fine on the test. So
she's still giving you a final?
Because she had to at that point. Because we need to finish the class.
That's rude. I would have been like, everybody, if you turn
one
project about a dollar sign,
we did. We had one project, and when we had a and then we had a final.
The fact that she made you take a test is wild.
You do the study guide. So the study guide was literally the test. So if you did the study guide, and you could use the study guide on the test.
Okay, that's fair.
It literally was the test.
Memorize it. I was
so you literally could just go and put down, like, look at the study guide, and all the answers are right there. So really, the easiest final ever, as long as you did the study guide. But it was weird. We never got a solid answer on, like, she never taught there after that. But it was also like,
got fired, bro.
I'm like, how do you just stop showing up to class and you don't even tell, like, again, college students, like, again, the other reason I love Dr. Nunes is, like, you really got college students, the fact is, none of us care. We are here to get our degrees, we're here to get our, like, learnings and stuff like that, but none of us care, and the teachers should have that same mentality of, like, oh, well, you know, you do it if you do it. If you don't, then you don't. You're paying for this, you know? If you really don't want to put an effort, sure, fine, you're paying for this. You know, like, they get that. So, like, Dr. Nunes will always be like, hey, this is due by Friday. I'm not checking it till Monday. If as long as it shows up by Monday morning, that's fine. You know? So, that's why he was the best. But, for a lot of reasons, I thought he was awesome. But, so, just, like, you know, tell the students you're going to be out. If you have to say, like, sometimes you'll have a professor be like, hey, no class this week, I got something else to do. And the students are usually like, okay, yeah, chill, I'm awesome, I'm glad we don't have class. You know? So, like, that's fine. People will be fine with that, you know? So, like, that's the thing that was always weird about it, was the fact that they're like, that she, like, never said anything, and, like, she could have said, like, hey, I'm out, and we would have been like, okay, cool, no class this week, yay, you know, like, it was just weird that she randomly just stopped showing up, and so there'd be, like, several weeks in a row where I just kept poking my head and being like, hey, and then, like, one of the weeks when I did poke my head, I'm like, oh, there's an actual teacher here this time, cool, that's new, you know, it was weird. Again, the weirdest things just happen to me. I also was there during like the transitionary period in Peace, where like they're trying to get over to like more male enrollment because they had just become like male accepting college. So it was like interesting time of change for the college, to say the least. So I went to so many ceremonies. I got so many random like things to do as a marshal. I got lots of keychains. I got so many random t-shirts. Like, man, this like I tell Olivia, I'm like, just look at the boards sometimes, just see what's available, because like the things that you can like run into or just find is going on just because you happen to be there, it's just funny sometimes. So it was yeah. College stories, man. So many college stories I have. That's why Malin says like that, so I'm like, I'm not the energetic storyteller Malin is, but I definitely think I have a fair share of stories to tell, because just things that happen to me are just like, wow, really? I'm like, yep. Things happen to me or around me or things, or maybe I'm just observant and I have just an interesting way of like looking at the world, but like, there are things where I'm just like, yep, this happened. I think I'm gonna... Okay, I think I can kill this guy in one hit, because I think my other deer's gonna hit him. Getting close on this, guys. Getting close. Let's see. Let's put this one here. Because I said it. I'm like, I'm playing this until I beat this story mode. That's what I plan to do. Put that there. Put this here. So, I mean, we're doing this. We're definitely playing this till the end. Actually, where's what's my... I have not used my hero spell at all this game, and I need to do that. There we go. Now he did. I keep forgetting, because this part of the game's so easy, I always forget to use my hero spell. They also nerfed that kind of in this game as well, because the hero spell used to be a singular one-shot arrow that did 15 damage, now they split into 3. Good job, me. We did it.
Anwen fights with the fury that she has kept bottled up since the attack on the camp.
And now we have
she
the
sends
narration.
the mighty demon Azexes running back to Sheog, his tail between his legs.
Man, wouldn't it be nice this whole game had voice acting, since they went through the effort of playing voice acting in it to some extent. And I'll have to kill this guy again later. Because he's not dead, I'll have to kill him again later. Oh, we rescued Godric, yay! I just like that he just straight up like yanks the chains. Like they had him captured this whole time, and then he just like straight up just like he's chained up, but then he just straight up just yanks the chains down. I'm like, you know, way to go, dude. It's like, I hope my siblings are well, even though they're stuck in like literal hell and the underworld. Yeah. I'm sorry to tell you, Godric, but your siblings are probably in the worst possible places they could possibly be.
They're doing great.
So, elf people will continue looking for the Blade of Binding, not to be confused with the Blazing Sword.
Or the Binding Blade.
The Binding Blade, yep.
Dang, bro, I got hella earrings in this pile.
Also, just I like the fact it's like he's like, "Why did you come after me?" And she's just like, "Because we both have grief and loss." I'm like, honestly, I feel like there's a vague shipping going on here. The fact that you were coming so intensely after this human boy, just gonna say, throwing that out there.
I ship everyone. Hey, time to make a kiss.
The game. I did look when this was a special interest to me. I did look for fanfiction on this. They don't have it, but I'm like,
darn.
These two would definitely.
Me with Libra and Virion.
These two would definitely
4.
be a ship because they have some sweet.
I love some chemistry.
They have some sweet chemistry going on here. And they also kind of act as like the seniors of the group when we get to see other people later on. Because they're like, yeah, we have our lives kind of together. Think we are out of her story mode though. Oh gosh. So glad for that. I think I'm gonna play this at least to the we're gonna go at least get to the prologue stuff so I can save. But he has to walk back to his country. That sucks, dude. Oh no, he had a horse.
Talengard, capital of the Empire, jewel of the realm. Godric has visited the city before, but never so alone, and never with so urgent a mission.
The voice is so low compared to the music in this game.
I know, all I can hear is like, ooh, it's like, and you're like, what is she saying? That'd be like me trying to do this narration. I keep turning off my mic because I'm wrestling with this jewelry and it's super loud. I'm sure you can probably hear a little bit of it.
I like how he goes in and announces his name, because normally that's how you get into a city, and they're like, traitor, kill him! And he's just like, what the heck?
Not gonna lie, he's kind of hot. Thoughts?
Oh yeah, I'd say
Thoughts?
that. His art, his
Thoughts from the court?
most of the guys'
Speaking to the
updated
mic.
art actually looks way better than their original art.
You know who else is hot? Ghost Girl.
Yeah, Ghost Girl is. But Godric, yeah, he definitely got some
honestly
glow
kinda
up
hot.
art. Though I don't get why his sprite has a much thicker cape than he actually does. You can see it right now in his artwork. It's just ruffled around the shoulders, but it's thin in like a normal cape or wear. It looks like fluffy in his sprite work. That's why I don't like his sprite work. Right. I also like that this is like I like how they're like, you know what? We did tutorials for the elf girl. We're chucking you right into combat. You haven't even moved a singular space yet. We're chucking you right in. You know, and it's like, oh, cool. No preamble here. Lovely. We're going right in. All right. This fight can only get a little annoying because you only have one unit type, and your type charges up slower than the enemies. So you're just kind of like, hope I hit you eventually. Though I should, and also you only have 10 HP, because you're again literally fight one. Unlike the other one with Anwin, where they're like, here, we'll give you 3 different ME types. You know, so you actually have a full thing before we actually make you fight anything, and Godric's like, nope, we're gonna throw you into the deep end and see if you swim. It's like, cool. No, this should be fine. I do like Godric's units better, because, again, the knights don't have, like, they're just sturdier, so they can take hits better. They take a little longer to charge, but they also have some more specialized abilities. Like Madeline said before this game, the elves are really tutorial mode. It's an easy story, it's a kind of a meaningless story, and the units are like simple and they charge fast, but they're not difficult. Yep, I'm doing great so far, because my people are still charging and haven't hit anything yet, and I'm already like 2 hits away from death. We're doing great, guys. We're doing great. I do think I should just need to, like, okay. Now he's wounded too, so I should be fine. Let's move. Let's get rid of you. Madeline's doing her ASMR in the corner with all her jewelry she's untangling.
No, dog, this is not ASMR. This is like actually the worst noise ever. It's just me grinding random pieces of metal against your brain. I mean, if you're into that though, good for you. I'm not gonna kink shame on Maine.
Yeah, people.
I will kink shame you.
We will kink shame you if you ask it from us and we say no.
You want free feet? Bork bork.
What was it? The one guy one time asked if like you would like if I would blow your nose or something.
People, hey man.
Weird things people.
The
ask
internet's a big place, and a lot of people should stay on their corner. You know what I'm saying? Not every part of the internet needs to know about you. I try to be like, love everyone. I'm pretty open to accepting, except about kinks. Sorry, man. That's weird. You like to lick feet?
I'm not gonna be.
You're nasty.
I won't be so far as like, Godric the Traitor's on the loose. Wow, what a welcome home.
I was gonna say, what a tight nickname. Godric the Traitor.
I like how he's just gone home and already they're like, spears to the throat. See, his story starts out with some pizzazz. It almost reminds me of the beginning of Sacred Stones, where you're like, wow, level 1 and we're already running. Awesome. Anyway, we're gonna save here because this is the stealth section of the game. Yes, we are playing a game that is tactical, and we have a stealth section, and I don't like doing it. So we're gonna stop there. Good stuff there. So, man, I feel like we've covered so many topics today. I feel like we've just covered the wide gamut of topics tonight.
Mm-hmm.
How about you?
Probably. I don't really remember. I
think
didn't
we've
get
covered
my
at least-
jewelry. I did not get my jewelry.
I think we covered a minimum of 5 fandoms, at least 3 real-world topics, and 2 life updates.
Life update. I'm sleepy. I'm just a sleepy little girl. That's my life update.
I don't think that's a life update. I think that's your life
I'm
status.
just so sleepy all the time.
Anyway, so thanks everyone for who came in and talked to us. I appreciate when we have a nice, like, flowing chat because it gives me something to respond to.
It's like we're hanging out in person, but also from the comfort of our own homes. So it's honestly the best type of hangout.
That is the whole motto of the Cozy Gamers. We have to be cozy and we have to be gaming.
Yeah, it's like we're hanging out, but just from our houses. So you don't even have to wear pants. I won't tell.
I mean, honestly, if we came in here and Malin wasn't wearing pants,
I'd let you guys know.
I was gonna say you could just have a blanket.
Yeah, I unfortunately am wearing pants. Boo, boo.
Well, I mean, we can't tell. It's pointed at. It is pointed
My
at.
crotch!
Yeah.
I'll have to continue fighting this demon on the next stream.
And we will. Yeah. So updates for next week. We have Tuesday. Will be. I think we're finishing up Hatsune Miku DBX.
Miku!
So we'll be doing the final world and probably doing just a little bit of extra grinding for costumes because we enjoy costumes. So maybe do a couple of festivals. I'll have more Vocaloid.
We'll do some fun like hard mode stuff. Like we'll do some challenges. Like
and
keep the joy of it alive.
yeah. And that's not to say we will be the last time I was doing either, because I would still love to
like
we might dabble a little bit in Future Tone just to play some like songs like Ghost Rule. And as you can see on this thing, I have Project Diva Mega Mix, which I also enjoy a lot as a game. I've been working my scores up on that game.
I should get to like the talking thing, but I don't know how. So
Yeah, well,
this is good enough.
yeah, that's what we're gonna do. But we only barely know how to run the systems when Ellie's not here. But
Don't even know how to.
because streaming's harder
I've
than
lost
it looks.
somehow the other eel in here.
But, so we'll be doing that next week on Tuesday. Next Thursday, most likely, we'll continue playing this game now that I've gone on to Godric's story, which is, hopefully we'll pick up a little bit more of a pace here. And, we'll try that at least to see where it goes, to see where it takes us. If not, there's also, like, again, I might play some Mega Mix. I've been wanting to play some of the songs in Mega Mix. And I'll go and tell you more Vocaloid facts, because when we originally played Diva X the first time, that was a special interest for a while. I had so much knowledge about Vocaloids during that time and how they were perceived by the fandom.
Why the heck do you think we have so many Miku features? Sorry, that's super loud.
It can be the smallest things,
We've
honestly.
only learned about Hatsune Miku. I got the first one. We'll tell you about that another time. But like, I got the first one within the last 2 years, I would say.
Yeah,
We have like 10 of them. Not even. We definitely have more than 10.
It's definitely gone down a little bit now, but I'm like, man, when we first got into it, let me tell you, I had so much knowledge in my brain about Vocaloids, like, it's amazing. That, again, that much existed. But, anyway, so we have Tuesday next week, do more Vocaloid stuff, Thursday, probably more of this, game. But we also, again, are really open to suggestions. I made a Discord chat for us to chat in. It's not a channel. I'm going to make an official channel eventually. I just forgot how to do it, and I haven't done it on my computer in a while. I've done it mostly on my phone, but I forgot how to do it on my phone, so I have to look up how to do it. I'll make us a channel at some point, but for right now we have a chat group. Please put in what you would like to see us play. We're open to suggestions. I wish I knew how to do polls, because we have a lot of games that like are just sitting there that I'm like, hey, anyone interested in this? Otherwise, I go and tell Malin, hey, we're playing this week. What do you think? And she's either cool or she's like she was when we played Sonic Superstars. So, where we both come back with trauma. I come back with immensely sweaty hands and Mally comes back with a headache. Don't know if we're ever going to go back to that game, that's for sure. Yeah. You probably can. But so definitely please give us some suggestions on things to play. Like I said, I have certain things I want to play at some point. We want to do Sonic Frontiers at some point. We want to do Detroit Become Human, and I actually probably want to play the game that came before it, actually the predecessor, Heavy Rain. Before that, because I've never actually seen a playthrough of that, and I've actually somehow managed to be unspoiled by that game. So I would like to play that at some point. Want to play Resident Evil 8 at some point. I would love to start doing Pokemon Nuzlocke on here. I love those. I love playing them. That'll probably be my Thursday segments at some point. And then, like, we got Sonic games, we got Pokemon games, we got, gosh, so many eShop games. But, like, give us some recommendations. Honestly, there's so many games out there. Even if it's just a thing of we want to see you do more action games, platformer games, RPG games. Obviously, we're partial to RPGs, but, we're willing to try anything at least once. Like, even if it's just like Sonic Superstars, we play it once, we hate it, and then we don't play it again, we're open to doing that. So, seriously, give us some ideas in the chat for what we do, and even things like Mally can do when she's doing, like, her side camera hustle when I'm doing, like, the main thing,
Eventually, once I get this... Right now, I need to, like, get my life organized, because I can't get to a lot of my stuff. But once I get my life organized, I have spring break coming up in 2 weeks, so hopefully around that time. Oh, this one looks broken. I would like to, start, like, painting or creating things on here. I have a lot of things I want to create, but I also just need to find, my stuff that I need to make. Oh my god, look at my freaking hair. What the heck? Whatever.
I think it's a vibe.
It's whatever. I will try to make that on here. Just to have a little something fun to do. I was gonna do more makeup, but right now, I can't even, like, get to my makeup, really, just because I have so much junk in my trunk. By my trunk, I mean my room.
Yeah. So anyway, at this point, it is far past my bedtime.
And I have to work tomorrow. What the freak?
So thank you, everyone, for being here, for chatting with us. It was great to talk, great to kind of rant, great to kind of... be unabashedly myself for the evening. That's why we do this, so we can go be our weird selves for a couple of hours.
Correct, because I spend so much of the day at work just talking about normal things, because also everyone's so much older than me, they want to talk about their kids, so I'm like, yeah, oh my god, how was your kids' field trip to the zoo? Oh my god, it was good? They're learning the clarinet. Oh, wow.
See, I can't do that.
And sometimes I am excited about, like, for my co-teacher, I'm more genuinely invested in her life because we work with each other every day. But if it's somebody I don't see often, like somebody I see at the park, and they'll be like, so then this, and they're starting, soccer practice tomorrow. I'm like, oh my god, that's so exciting. I loved playing soccer. I've never played soccer, mind you. Elliot and Olivia played soccer. I never did. So it's nice to be able to be a nerd and not have to worry about having cool conversations. I can just be my loser self.
Not have to worry about societal pressures or, life and living and adult stuff that none of us like.
So big preach to all the homies out there.
Yeah.
Shout out to the homies.
So thanks for everyone.
Bye to the babies. Bye, babies.
Bye, Willow and Maeve.
Night-night. You're probably already in bed.
They are probably already in bed.
But sleep tight, already in sleepy time bed jail.
Anyway, and so I guess we'll see you guys
give up on this
all.
freaking jewelry.
We'll see probably a lot of you on Saturday, but online we'll see you on Tuesday. All right, homies.
Bye. See ya. Where's the thingy? I have to find this thing that Elliot does.
Elliot has to find the turn
Goodbye.
off button.